We could go still somewhere near the
Yeah, I figured them out.
well, that's all fine. I didn't say. I know, and I'm supposed to actually go there for those kids coming down the harbor. I told them I don't know, I'll try to get there.
I'll be a friend.
Hey, Shepherd.
Yeah, nice shepherd.
Shen.
Say, Sean, like we don't know it. Should we save them? See them? Yeah, sit back there.
You know, like, I mean, it's great. I mean, yeah.
It's like around that. See, there's a lot of stairs that you come out for second house. When you come in front of
Got you. Gotcha. Thank you.
get on for 12 and turn right. Yeah, you're going to
Where's my kids? I'd like to think so.
Cynthia, do you have any more copies of
I don't know what it is.
Well, and I was hoping that Eric would be here tonight and I could show him. I'm logged in. It's just saying I can't. It's weird.
Oh shoot, it's like mine's 42 or something like that was mine, but I think everybody had a different one. Is our tech expert down here? I see him. Well, he might know. He's in the back there, he might tell you. I think if you go to the bottom of the stairs, if you go to the bottom of the stairs here, they got a little station made up where they're running all this stuff. Usually there's somebody, Eric's usually down there. I don't know if he is now or not.
Good.
And I'm leaning back. I'm not sure what I got going on here. Whoa! I need to go forward. I lost you.
I think you shared Well, good evening, and oh, hello. If you were sleeping, you're awake now. So, well, welcome. So good to see a full house. And before we get our meeting started this evening, we have a few, I guess I'll call them pre-meeting activities to begin with. So, Dr. Rollins, why don't you introduce one of our special guests?
Well, I too, like our board and certainly our president, would like to welcome each of you this evening. This is just a great opportunity for us to share the work of our students, the great work of our teachers, the partnerships that are in place in the district. And we'd like to begin tonight by inviting one of our HAR-BER students, Josh Reingold, to come forward. And he's involved in speech and debate. And his teacher, Ms. Marshall, is here with him tonight. So we're very glad to have you, and a great new addition there, as I can see, that you can introduce in just a moment. But Josh participated, along with other students from the region, in a speech program that was sponsored by our local Rotary Club. And Josh has had great experiences in the district and the state and beyond, and a great speaker. And we like to share examples of our students engaged in their learning. And this is just great. And Josh, we're so glad to have you. And I'm going to yield to you, and you give the set that you want to your presentation, and we just look forward to hearing you. Thank you.
Okay, can everyone hear me all right? Okay, excellent. I'll begin. Margaret Kennedy once said, "The informality of family life is a blessed condition that allows us to look our worst while becoming our best. And I couldn't agree more. You see, I know a thing or two about families because I come from a large one. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. But what makes my large family different from most is that I also come from a single-parent home. Tragically, a little over 2 years ago, I lost my mother to cancer. The loss of a loved one is always devastating, no matter the size of the family, but the loss of a parent, someone who has literally always been there for you, is especially hard. My mother was the one who held my family and household together, whether it was grocery shopping, helping the kids with schoolwork, or making sure that we got to soccer practice on time. She was there for us. I'm the second oldest in my family, and it was part of my job to pick up the responsibilities that were left when my mother died. And even though it's been difficult, my family has been and still is adjusting. But I'm growing older. I'm a junior right now, about to be a senior in high school, and I have to make a decision about college soon. It's always been one of my dreams to travel away to school. The new environment, meeting new people, making new friends, it's all an exciting premise to me. But when considering my dream of traveling away, I have to think about my family here at home and the responsibility that I still feel I have to them. A man named Herbert J. Taylor was no stranger to difficult decisions such as this one. And he invented something called the four-way test to ensure that when he and others had to make those difficult decisions or fulfill responsibilities like I have to, that they could do so with genuine moral integrity. The 4 parts of his test are: is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill, better friendship? And finally, is it beneficial to all concerned? Today, I'll be putting the question of whether or not I should travel off to college or stay home with my family through Herbert J. Taylor's 4-way test. The first portion of the test: is it truth? Is it true that I can travel off to college? Yes, I believe it is. I've been preparing for it my whole academic life. Whether it be taking AP classes, taking the tests, or preparing college hours in order to attend successfully, I've prepared. And I believe that if I work hard enough, I can get into a good college that will truly benefit me. But when considering my dream of traveling away, I have to think about my family. Yes, it's true. I can travel away. But it's also true that I could be living hundreds of miles away from my family here in Arkansas, maybe at MIT, or a tech school in Georgia, or California. It's true that I could be putting myself further away from my family for longer than I ever have been before. So yes, it's true. But it's true in more ways than one. And that leads me to the second portion of the test. Is it fair? Is it fair for me to travel off to college and leave my family behind? Am I being fair to myself if I choose not to? As I mentioned before, I know that I will truly benefit from this. Not only in a purely academic sense, but also in being able to achieve my dream of traveling away to school. Would it also be fair to my parents? Every parent wants their child to succeed, to grow up to be the best that they can. That's why they enroll you in academic or athletic activities, or tell you to get enough sleep and study hard before a big test, because they want you to succeed, to fulfill your utmost potential. Would it be fair to my parents if I settled? If I put myself in a position where I knew that I wasn't being all that I could? Balancing fairness to self versus fairness to my family and my parents is a problem that I am still having difficulty solving. Because regardless of which path I choose, it won't be truly fair to all concerned. And that leads us to the third portion of the test. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? I know that if I were to travel off to college, I would be given the opportunity to create amazing new friendships. I can make friends in even the most unlikely of places. College would be easy for me. But would that truly build goodwill and better friendships with my family, the people that I would be leaving? No matter the distance, relationships take work. They take moments. And I would have to make those distant moments count. Whether it be a phone call to chat or a Facebook message to help with homework. But no matter how much modern technology today provides us with a means of long-distance communication, simply put, it's not the same. A phone call isn't the same as talking to someone face-to-face. And words read from a screen are nowhere near as personal as ones that are spoken next to you. So ultimately, no. It wouldn't build goodwill and better friendship. The fourth question, will it be beneficial to all concerned, is the one that I've thought the most about. Because like the previous questions, I have to balance two worlds. One home, the other college. One responsibility and the other potential. And all things considered and all the thought that I've given it, I think that yes, it will benefit everyone concerned. Because although college is soon, it's not time yet. Right now I'm home. Home to help my family with a journey that we're still not quite through yet. But I'll make sure that when the time comes, that my family is ready. I'll make sure that I have mentored my brothers and sisters under me on how to perform the duties and responsibilities that my mother unwillingly passed on to me. And I'll make sure that they then know how to pass those duties and responsibilities onto their younger siblings, so that they can go to college or wherever else to pursue their dreams should they choose to. As you've seen, I've put my question through Herbert J. Taylor's four-way test. I've asked if it was true, if it was fair, if it built goodwill, better friendship, and if it benefited everyone concerned. And although my question didn't pass every aspect, this is something that me and my family are still working through, and will do so in a way so that I can pursue my dream. As put perfectly by Oliver Wendell Holmes, home is where we love, a home that our feet may leave, but not our heart. I'll make sure that when it comes time for me to leave my family and pursue my dreams, that they are ready for my departure. Thank you.
Well, very well done. As I recall, once you've received the recognition from the local Rotary Club, you now go to a district competition. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, all right. So, but you're not sure when that is?
I'm not really sure right now.
Okay, well, go do that. I'm sure you'll represent us well. So, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Mike, could we invite Miss Marshall to stand with him? What a great teacher that this woman is. She's just influenced so many young people in such a great way. Recognize Tanisha Marshall, if you would. Josh, thank you for being here and sharing that.
Thank you very much.
We're so very proud of you.
Thank you.
A few other things. Before we get our meeting started, I'd ask Dr. Rollins to open us in an invocation, and then we'll also do a Pledge of Allegiance. So, Dr. Rollins.
Let's pray together. Dear God, we thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for the blessings that you provide to each of us. We thank you especially for the children and for the privileges that you provide to each of us to just be a part of their educational experience, to just be a part of their family, to be their teacher, their principal, their superintendent, their school board member, or a part of the community that supports each of them. In our meeting tonight, we ask that you be with us and help us keep our thoughts on the students of this district and their needs, and to bring the resources that we have together to serve each of them at the highest level. Our goal is to teach them all, to teach each student to proficient and advanced levels. And we give such thanks to the moms and dads who are partners with us, and again to our teachers and our administrators. We say these things in thy name. Amen.
Okay, Sydney, if you'll come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, that'd be great.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sydney. We'll have you come back up in just a minute. No, I want you to think about it for a little bit before you come back up here. But all right, well, again, welcome. And at this point, I'll call our school board meeting to order. And board members, you have had the agenda for a few days now. Dr. Rollins, any revisions to our agenda?
Mr. Luttrell, I would like to move item J in this first section forward. And if we could do that just after item B, I would appreciate it. Our building principal has an event at her school tonight, and we always appreciate their willingness to come be a part of our meeting. So item J would become the third item. Other than that, I believe the agenda would stand as presented.
Okay, board, we have the one adjustment to our agenda. So with that, I'll accept a motion.
move to approve the agenda as amended.
Have a motion from Ms. McFettridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Owenby. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? There's none, so we'll accept the agenda. Also, you have the minutes of our previous board meeting that was held on January the 14th. So I would also ask for one of our board members to give us a motion to approve that.
I move we approve the minutes from previous meeting.
We have a motion from Mr. Dotson to accept the minutes and a second by Ms. Cook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? There is none. Okay. If you'll bear with us, sometimes our technology, we got to get it all straightened out here, so we'll get that taken care of. Before we move into the rest of our agenda, this is the part of the meeting where we have a time for patron comments. We would ask if you had anything to address the board with this evening, come forward, just give us your name and your address. We'll allow you about 5 minutes to speak. We're not able to take action on those things tonight, but we would certainly welcome any comments you may have. So is there any members of the public that would like to come speak? Okay, seeing none, we will move right into our agenda. So Dr. Rollins, introduce our special guest this evening.
It's really a privilege for me to introduce Sydney McConnell. She's our student representative this evening from Springdale High School. And we have the opportunity to watch a lot of young people grow up, and this is one of my favorites for sure. Sydney is a senior, which is hard to believe, but Mom, she is a senior, so we can attest to that. Her parents are Shane and Stephanie McConnell. She is a candidate for the International Baccalaureate Diploma this year, and hopefully in your comments you might have a few moments to talk to us about that for sure. She takes the International Baccalaureate English and Business Management. She takes AP Spanish Language, Senior Service Seminar, International Baccalaureate Chemistry, and International Baccalaureate History of the Americas. You're a pretty busy girl, aren't you? That sounds like about 8 periods a day. I'm not sure, but she's applying for the University of Central Arkansas, where she would like to study international business. She volunteers in the community through the Springdale High School Service Learning class. She participates in fast-pitch softball. That might be another good story you could tell us about. And she's an avid supporter of the Springdale Bulldogs and has not missed a Springdale High football game or a basketball game. We're so proud of you and glad to have you here. Okay.
Whenever Mr. Jinks asked me to come and speak tonight, it really took me back to whenever I was a freshman at Southwest and I wasn't sure about where I wanted to go to high school. And so wanting to be detailed and making the best decision possible, we scheduled a tour with Mr. Jinks, and me and several of the other girls and their moms that were on the Cougar volleyball team with us our freshman year, we all came and took a tour, and Mr. Jinks took 2 hours out of his day and showed us anything we wanted to see, talked about anything that we would possibly want to consider taking as far as coursework, athletics, the academies that Springdale offers, and that's really whenever I fell in love with Springdale High. And so because a lot of my friends, being at Southwest, because a lot of my friends went across town, I took it upon myself to really make sure that I got involved at Springdale because I really wanted to make sure that I had the most fulfilling high school experience possible. And so I enrolled in the International Baccalaureate program, and Ms. Turley is here, my IB coordinator, and she has been an angel just because she takes care of all of our scheduling, and anytime, oh, Ms. Turley, I'm having a bad day, oh, she takes care of everything. And so I would really like to thank her for that and all that she's done. And like Mr. Rollins pointed out, I'm in the IB Diploma Candidate Program, and I've already taken 2 of my tests. Last year, I took my IB Spanish test and my IB Math Studies test. I scored a 6 out of 7 on my math test and a 5 out of 7 on my Spanish test. And so hopefully these are credits that I will be able to take with me to school for schools that offer transfer credit hours for those classes. I have also been in the National Honor Society for 2 years, and this year I'm serving as secretary, and also the National Spanish Honor Society is something that I've become a part of and that have really loved being a part of a group. I really have loved working in groups and being part of a team, and so my first 2 years at SHS I played on the volleyball team, and once service learning was a really great opportunity that I wanted to focus on my senior year, it conflicted with volleyball because volleyball was moved to the middle of the day, so I did have to drop that. But I've been a member of the softball team for going on 3 years, hopefully to get that 3rd varsity letter if Coach over there is okay with that. And Coach Kemp, I've gotten to know her very well over the past 3 years, and she's truly been a blessing also because she understanding that the coursework that we carry and the other activities that we're involved in. She's truly been a blessing, and I've loved getting to play as a member of her team and getting to work with her. As far as hobbies and community service, I am involved in service learning. And service learning, I've loved getting to work with especially the younger kids. We tutor at Jones Elementary School. We read with them. We have a program we call Reading Cats and Dogs instead of Raining Cats and Dogs. I thought it was pretty funny. And then we also go to Head Start, the daycare center, on Thursdays, which I really enjoy because it was different working with children of that age that I'd never really worked with before. My family and I were a member of First United Methodist Church right over here, and we love being a part of that. And this weekend, in fact, the Polar Plunge is coming up, and it will be cold, but hopefully not as cold as it has been, raising money for the Special Olympics as we run into Beaver Lake. So we're very excited about that. I also participate on the Coordinated School Health Board with Mary Miller, which that has really opened my eyes to the different ways in which Springdale is trying to help make the district a healthier and more welcoming place for kids of all ages. And so as of right now, as Mr. Rollins said, I have applied for the Honors College at the University of Central Arkansas, where I have been invited to they call them I-Squared Days. It's the Interview and Inform Days at UCA, which I will drive down to Conway next Monday and go through seminars and lectures and hopefully earn myself a spot there, as I hope to earn myself a spot on the softball field this year, as well as in different organizations while I'm still in high school and can still enjoy myself in high school. And so international business is something that I'm heavily considering. Through IB Business Management this year with Ms. Williamson, my teacher that I've been taking, I've really enjoyed learning more about the business aspect because not a lot of classes in high school, besides like accounting and other classes like that, aren't really focused primarily on business. And I also hope to study abroad whenever I get to school, because after taking 5 years of Spanish, it seems like the only reasonable thing to do is to finish up. So, thank you.
That is outstanding. I almost had to take 2 pages worth of notes on the different things that you told us
Sorry, I probably
about
should
yourself.
have talked slower then. I'm
No, that is tremendous. Well, I'm sure these board members may have a question or two for you, so we'll see if anybody can stump you with a question.
Yes, sir.
What position do you play on the softball team?
The past 2 years I've played third base, but this year we're maybe looking at second. We'll have to.
You're really getting put on the spot over there, aren't you?
I don't really make these
Anywhere she-
decisions.
oh.
I just kind of go wherever I'm told.
So you want off the hot corner?
I'll be on whatever corner she wants me to be.
Good answer. What I was going to ask you was, you're applying for the UCA Honors Program. Does that mean that they will accept the IB credits that you're building up at Springdale?
Yes, as far as I know. I went on a tour over the summer, and from what I talked to them about, like if you score a certain number on your test, then they will transfer over into credit hours.
Great.
Would you like to introduce your mom?
Oh, yes. This is my mom. This is Stephanie McConnell. She works at Helen Tyson. And so we're very involved in this district, and we really love to be here. So thank you for having us.
You bet. Well, I know that
Thank you.
Mom is certainly proud of you, and
Mom is really proud, and Sydney is incredible, and thank you for Springdale Schools that have done so much to help her, because it's an honor to work here, and it's an honor to be at Springdale High School, it really is. And it is my duty as her mother, we're going to Europe for her senior trip, and I felt like being in Spanish that long was so hard, I should take her.
the sacrifices, of course.
It's just a curse that I have to be Sydney McConnell's mother. But anyway, so thank you for letting her be here, and thank you for all of your support.
Well, that's great. And the thing else, just a few of the words that you used when you were talking about your teachers, an angel, a blessing, and love to play for your coach. I mean, and you're not here because you love your school board members. You're here because...
No, I do. You
Well,
all do.
okay. But I think we all know that it's those classroom teachers that get it done, so thank you, Ms. Turley, and thank you very much for what you do, and good luck in your endeavors. You know, one other thing I forgot that I had on my agenda, Dr. Rollins, was that we are joined tonight with some streaming video by Ms. Voss, I believe. One of our principals is actually teaching a class at Harding University, so I think if you can see us on the streaming video, we've...
So everybody wave.
Exactly,
Everybody wave.
Yeah, there we go. But we wanted to say welcome. We're glad that you're participating via the web, so hopefully this is an enlightening experience for those students in her class. So anyway, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Luttrell. Dr. Brackett, is Dr. Brackett in the audience? There he is. There he is. I believe he has a very special recognition to bring this evening, and so we'll start our board meeting with this recognition.
Yeah, we've had the privilege of introducing to you Romley Reynolds in the past as a National Merit semifinalist. But it's the first time that in my career of 30 years, and the first time that we can find in a long time in the Springdale School District, that we were able to introduce to you a student who scored a perfect score on the ACT exam. Romley scored a 36, and he's been honored. He was, in 2013, this is how rare this is, out of 1.8 million exams, 1,162 scored perfect score last year. I don't know what the status is this year, but if my math was correct, 1.8 million just barely goes on my calculator. And so when you do the division and when you do the figuring, it's 0.0040646. And so if you turn that into percentage, it's way, way, way a small percentage. And so it's my privilege again to introduce you to Romley Reynolds.
Romley, did you realize that 36 is 2 basketball players?
No. No, I did not.
What was give us some of your experience. I mean, that's an amazing achievement.
Well, first of all, I just like to go with some thanks because I feel it's deserved. First and most importantly to my parents, father, mother.
They wave to us back there, parents. There we go. Yeah.
My dad, in particular, played a pretty central role in giving me a bit of a head start earlier on. So I obviously would like to acknowledge that. That means a lot to me. And second, and of course, it would be impossible to name, but all of the teachers I've ever had, ever. Like Miss Rollins. Kindergarten.
That's right. That's exactly right. And she remembered you, too, when I told her about your accomplishment. That's pretty special.
Obviously, my teachers played just a perfect role in educating me and giving me all the tools and knowledge I needed to actually achieve what I did. Not that it was easy. It was not. But I owe a lot to them and to countless other people I could never remember or ever explain how important their contribution to not just beyond the test, just to my life, that I would just go on the record as acknowledging.
I would like to point out that Romley is a 13-year student in Springdale schools. He spent, I believe it's 4 years, or I guess 5, kindergarten, also at Parson Hills, 1 at Young, 2 at Helstern, 2 at Central. He's in his 3rd year at HAR-BER, and I think he's going to graduate.
Well.
Maybe.
What are your plans for the future?
That's a good question. My plans for the future are, in 2 words, wing it. But honestly, I don't know. As far as like in the short term being 4 years or so, I have no idea where I'm going for college, whoever takes me. And I have no idea what I'll major in. We'll see. As far as really long-term, all I can really say for sure, because I'm not smart enough to know, have any idea of a plan for my life at all, is I know I want to make a difference somehow, a meaningful, long-lasting difference somehow.
Well, that's pretty special.
What advice do you have for the other students in the district?
In regards to the ACT, or
Just really anything that you would like, any kind of advice you would give to students on just accomplishing what you've done so far?
well, never hesitate to take on a challenge. And I personally really like challenges. In fact, if I'm not presented one, I don't perform as well, which is why I really like AP classes, and AP classes do a good way towards preparing you for standardized tests. There's obviously the nature of college. It'll get you out of taking the same courses in college, but the tests prepare you for standardized tests. The classes prepare you for standardized tests. The SAT and ACT are both pretty important as far as college admissions go, and advanced classes, advanced geometry, algebra, the trigonometry and pre-calculus really helps. So don't hesitate to take a challenge. And on the tests themselves, don't leave anything blank.
Very good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's good. Well, congratulations. What a great achievement, and thanks for letting us be a part of it. So.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Well done. All right. Good job.
Keep remembering all these things that I was supposed to say, and I didn't look at my notes, and I apologize for that. Romley will set a district record in the number of AP exams he takes. He's taking, I think, 8 with the class, and 4 others that he didn't even have a class in. And so far, he's scored very well on all of his exams, and we anticipate that happening again. We are honored to have Romley in our school, and we're thankful for his upbringing. He's going to make the school district very proud. Already has.
Well, that's great. We'll have to develop a new classification instead of just highest honors. We'll find something else for you. So, congratulations. Good job.
Sydney, you can't take Miss Turley with you. I hope you know that. I know, she's all of our favorites.
She is.
Work is calling.
Know your breath.
Dr. Brown, if you'd come forward, we're very glad to have you here this evening. A great project, sounds like.
Dr. Rollins, Mr. Luttrell, board members, thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about something really great going on at Central, and also for moving me up on the agenda so that I can get to my parent night. Thank you very much. Back in the fall, we surveyed our student body about things that they want to see improved, things that they want to see better at Central, and one of the overwhelming responses was regarding the campus and the way that it looks, and beautifying the campus. And so a team of NJHS officers, our PTO, we all sat down and brainstormed, and our beautification project came about. And so this year we've been focused on how to beautify our campus. We partnered with HAR-BER Landscaping, and we have a master plan, and we are working to beautify the campus. Recently, we received information, news from Miss Lisa Ray, who is the CEO and president of Arvest Bank, and she's also a representative of the Walton Family Foundation. But they have donated $10,000 toward our beautification project, and we are very excited about that. In addition to that, we wrote a grant back in the fall, and we received news that we did get the grant. The grant is for $14,000, and it will allow us to update or remodel the tennis and the basketball court on the outside of the building. So in the spring, we'll have a lot of outside projects going on, and we're really excited about number one, responding to our students, and then secondly, beautifying our campus so that it looks really good. One of the things that we know for sure is that when people take Elm Springs Road exit and they come into Springdale, whether they're coming to the central office or downtown, our school is the first school that they see. And so we want to have curb appeal, and we want them to be proud. We want our students to be proud, our families to be proud, and we want people to know how Springdale is represented.
That's terrific. Thanks for taking the initiative on that. Those are two great. So a grant from the Walton Family Foundation through Arvest Bank with their recommendation, and also the $14,000 grant came from.
It's a joint use agreement grant, and the purpose of that joint use agreement is a policy that the district has established with the city so that it allows patrons of the community to use the facilities after hours. So our students will have access during the day, and after hours, the community will be able to use the tennis and basketball courts.
What kinds of things are you doing? What's considered a remodel of a basketball court and tennis facility? What are you doing? What types of things?
On the tennis and the basketball court, we're actually going to resurface the court. The surface of the court will have 3 layers of acrylic paint, blue, and the lines of the basketball court will be yellow or gold, and the lines of the tennis court will be white. New nets, new goals. The poles will be painted, so it will look like a totally new basketball tennis court. In addition to that, we are actually landscaping the front and the sides of the building and including an irrigation system for maintenance purposes, and so the front of the building, side of the building will look totally different.
Nice. That's great. Is that area lit up, like after nighttime, is it lit up, or are there lights out there?
Well, there are lights in the parking lot, but not against the building for landscaping purposes.
Okay.
Good. Well, thanks for all your efforts on that. That's great. I know you've been doing a lot of work on that the last year or two, so thank you. Keep it up. Have fun at your parent night. So.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Leadership in sport.
Board, we're on item C on the agenda. Ms. Kathy Rowland, our instructional facilitator at the Archer Learning Center, is here, along with Mr. Mike Foner. Mike has kind of become a hero for all of us. And these two just do great work with children from all backgrounds. Mr. Greep is here as well, our principal at the school, and they have some special guests to recognize and then to explain a project that they're working on. Kathy, if you'd do the introductions.
Thank you. I am so excited to introduce these young men today because they went to Little Rock and presented for the American Society of Landscape Architects and won the Community Service Project of the Year for the state of Arkansas. When we look at Common Core and we look about what we're trying to do with partnerships in our community, this is a perfect example of this. And so I don't want to take any more time. What I want to do is introduce you to Jesus Centeno and Sergio Salazar. And these are both Archer Learning Center students, and they are going to tell you about the Manna Gardens.
Well, hello.
Hi.
Kind of had to write some notes down. As you can see, we really thought a lot about this project, and what we did, we got together with I think a total of 8 architects to help us with this project. What we did during the summer, we got together, the students who also work at Youth Strategies. We got together, it was about 20 of us, in and out, total of 2 meetings. And what we did, we separated into 2 groups. We kind of voted about all sorts of stuff, what we wanted in the garden, what we wanted to plant, any special features to it, what we wanted it to look like, pretty much down to the dirt we want on it. Every single thing we pretty much thought about. The students voted in and out, and we got all sorts of support. And the main features would be a special gate we came up with. And the gate, it pretty much symbolizes youth strategies, and the part of the bike shop that we also are a part of. So we wanted to show that off a little bit. And we also have a special arched planter beds, which we are going to use for elderly. If they can't bend over, we have them arched to about, the maximum height would be, I think, 4 feet to 3 feet. And anybody that can't reach them, it's lowered for any special disabilities or small children, such as we're also going to be using them for educational purposes. There will be a bioswale at the end, which we are also going to be using for recycling of the water. And there's 2 overview features to it, such as a flower in the middle. It's a giant flower in the middle, and it'll be used for an overview for passing airplanes, since it'll be right next to the airport across the street. And a fountain off towards the end of it, which will be powered by pedals, which anybody that wants to can get on the pedals. It'll be made of bike parts, but the pedals, when you pedal it, it also powers the fountain, which will be a good show, and the water will also be drinkable. Do you want to talk to it? The kiosks? Go ahead.
We also gave you a handout underneath your materials that has several pictures of the gardens and the project as well. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that before. So it has an envelope of strategies.
Oh, here it is.
A brochure of strategies. Yes, that's it. So I just wanted to let you know you had that.
Hi, my name is Sergio. The kiosk will have a lot of information about the plants we're going to garden, the fruits, flowers. It's going to have information about what each strategy is about, the purpose of each strategies. It's going to have information about the architect people. We'll talk a little bit about I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Kind of nervous.
I'd say, well, once you kind of tell us what is next for you. You've done this planning. You worked with, I see your notes here, 9 local architects. So what's next for this project?
Well, we're trying to get sponsors.
Okay.
So that we can start building the garden.
Okay. All right. And do you know yet what kind of costs are involved with doing this whole garden, or are you still putting that together?
Right now, we're not exactly too sure about the cost.
All right.
But we're hoping, we're trying to get the cheapest, but the best materials we can get for the cheapest price.
Well, you've done great work so far, and I know that I had an opportunity to sit in a few months ago when you made a presentation with some of the architects that were your partners on this. We've already talked about partnerships. Dr. Brown talked about it earlier. But what kind of things did they teach you as business professionals that are architects? I mean, what were some things they passed along to you in this process?
Let's see. Pretty much just how to plan, like the simple plannings. They taught us how to do a key and plan out the garden, what would be more useful around it, such as materials used, all sorts of stuff, like maintaining the water clean, what we need to keep the soil cleaner, and how to test it. That's what we did. That's one of the things we did. We tested the soil. We sent the samples. They came back and they told us pretty much what is in the soil to make sure we're not going to be polluting it any further.
This is on the Jones Center property, is it?
Yes.
It's a little bit south of the main building, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where it is.
Right on Anna Street?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is impressive. Good work.
Where is your bike shop?
The bike shop, it's right next to it. We were taking it there. Right here.
It's right there, okay.
Yeah, it's actually right next to it, so it'll be easy access. If anybody ever needs bike repairs, we're right there. That's also part of the reason we put the gate, we're gonna make the gate out of bike parts to show them that we're just right around the corner. We'll help with whatever we can.
Yeah.
So is that right on the trail system
Yeah,
then?
actually it is. It's right on the trail.
That's beautiful.
Whose idea was it to use the bike to pump the water? That is so cool.
I'm guessing it was some of the students. I didn't do that, but it was mostly the students. They wanted to show it off in some way, something more usable towards the people. And
Interactive, everybody can have a part of that.
Yeah, anybody can ride. Mostly the kids. I thought, there's not much to do except for the playground. The kids might as well have some fun.
That is really cool.
How many students are involved in the project? It looks like will be a large number.
As of now, we don't really have that too many, but we're hoping to get as many as we can involved.
I think you'll find a lot of people will be very interested in being your partner, that's for sure.
I hope so. It's going to be a lot of work.
It looks great. Well, it will be a lot of work, but it does look great, that's
Will
for
the
sure.
students help maintain it then, or?
Yeah, mostly. And we're also taking volunteers. Anybody can help. Anybody can play on it. It's for the open public.
Well, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
This will be a nice addition with all the work that's gone on at the Jones Center the last few years. And when you think about the Greenway coming through downtown Springdale, just another nice touch. Mike Foner, you're doing a great job and, learning what these young folks are doing. So thank you for that. Anything else you guys want to tell us? I know you're just anxious to.
Not really. I mean, pretty much said what we wanted to say. But if you have any more questions, we're willing to answer any we can.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for coming and presenting this. We appreciate it.
For the people in the audience who don't know who Mike Foner is, maybe Mike would stand up so we could acknowledge him, because he's been a tremendous partner to our school district. Thank you, Mike.
Great job.
Mike, that sounds like student engagement to me, doesn't it, you? At the highest level, for sure. Thank you, Kathy, for bringing this group to us tonight. All right, Joanne. Good. Board, this is Joanne Vanderspicken. This lady wears a lot of hats, that's for sure. Well, are we going to talk about economic ed tonight a little bit? Maybe a little GT as well?
A little bit of both. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
very good, thank you.
Two teams were in Springdale School District, one at the elementary level and one at the secondary level, placed first place in the state for the fall stock market computer game competition. They were recognized in Little Rock on January 16th at a gala luncheon. They received cash awards, notice I said cash awards, trophies and T-shirts, and they were asked from Young, Wendy Peters is the GT teacher and the coach of this team, to share. So their names, and I just want you to step forward as I call your name: Davis Element, Gabe Reed, Preston McAllister, Jackson Kruger. Parents, are you here? Would you stand up so we can just see you and recognize you? Parents of these first place winners. And this and share, okay? And you made it, yes.
Go ahead and take that off there and hand that to him, man. You're not going to break it.
Let me brag real quick. They were first place out of 138 teams. That's amazing. And there were actually 6 regions throughout the state, and they were chosen to speak, so I'm super proud. So here are the boys, and they're just going to share something really quick with you. So if you want to pass it back and forth.
Well, at first I was afraid. I was petrified. How was I to invest with these guys by my side? But we spent so many classes learning how to research along. And we bought stocks by using resources like yahoo.com/finance. But now we looked back all over the place at income statements and charts that prove a good pace. We could have leaned on our good luck. We could have pressed just any key. But what good would that do? This fiscal knowledge has set us free. Go on, buy low, get in the door. Just wait around now. So high forevermore.
And we also have, stay here with me, okay? We have a secondary team. Debbie Brackett, would you come? Is Debbie Flora here, the principal of Young? Stand, Debbie. Their principal. Wave your principal up there. Yes. We also have, thank you, stay here with me, some gentlemen from the high school, HAR-BER High, who placed first. And one of them is with us tonight, so Danny, if you'll come on. We have Christian Morales, Dustin Bartlow, Eric Jimenez, and Jess Ross is the coach of this team, but he's also a coach of the district and has responsibilities coaching tonight, so he apologized. He could not be here, but he's working hard. And then Jack Ritt, Krupostic. And this is?
I'm Dustin Barlow.
Dustin Barlow. We are so proud of our secondary team, first place in the state. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
Now, wait, what?
This guy.
Wait just a minute.
Now, before these guys run off, at what point will you tell us which stock we're supposed to go buy, or is that still a secret? Amazon, that's where it's at, huh? Okay. Yeah, that was. All right. That's good to know.
They're great researchers, aren't you? These boys are signed up for the second or spring semester games,
So how much money did y'all make?
We made 15%. We made a little over $115,000.
Boy, that's good stuff.
Spend it all on chocolate. That's mine. Well, that's great. Well, congratulations.
And Board and Dr. Rollins, I'm also pleased to announce that economics, we just received a grant from Economics Arkansas in the amount of $3,000 to pay to register for 175 teams for this spring. So our district pays in the fall for these students to participate out of our economics budget, but we received a grant for spring, so we're very pleased to announce that.
Joe, 175 teams,
Yes, sir.
4 or so students on a team, or how does that work?
That's right, 4 students on a team, and
Okay.
we now have received a grant for 175 teams for Springdale School
Kind of
District.
set up the competition for us. How much money are they given to start with?
They have a portfolio of $100,000, and then they research their stocks, and they can build, buy, or sell, and they have a period of a semester to invest and research. And it really ties in a lot with Common Core because of the academic language and vocabulary and the math skills and reading the graphs that are higher level. So it's a great thing for us to participate in.
Can we hear from Dustin?
Yes, Dustin?
Yeah, Dustin, come on up here real quick and kind of tell us.
We're not going to let him off.
That's right.
Well, I'm sure, well, they left now, but I'm sure the 4 kids did a lot better than my group because we were just doing it for fun. I really didn't know what I was doing to begin with, but the first things we invested in was towards Christmas, so I knew that all the new electronics coming out were going to do the best. So the first thing we invested in was Sony, Microsoft, and Best Buy, and that's pretty much all we had invested. It was a slow start at first, but a couple months went by and we were making money like crazy once they released the new consoles or whatever. So that's really how we made all of our money, was the electronics. And if it wasn't for Christmas, I don't think we would have came in first.
Well, we congratulate you. That's quite a feat to come
Thank
in
you.
first in the state, so.
There's a public traded company called America's Car Mart you might want to think about, too. So.
Might be a good idea.
Good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you,
Great job.
guys.
Thanks for being here tonight. Thank you.
On Exhibit 2, if you will look, on January 17th, Springdale School District partnered with Economics Arkansas and the Federal Reserve Bank of Little Rock, Chris Bertelson. Marcia Masters came, Jennifer Totten from Little Rock, and also Dr. Gary Stone from Winthrop University. He's professor of economics, and he has served as the conference chair for the National Council on Economics, so we have used his expertise through the years to help build our capacity in economic curriculum and modeling lessons and teaching rock-solid economics. That exhibit shows how the topic was differentiating economics for all the right Common Core reasons. And then Exhibit 3 one special training that we've never had in Springdale. I asked Economics Arkansas if we could not host the statewide training for the junior high teachers, the secondary economics teachers for the state here in Springdale at the Perry Professional Development Building. And with that partnership, they're resource multipliers. They actually gave us a $4,000 grant to pay for the subs for our 20 junior high teachers. I know Kim Garrett is just as pleased as I am. All of our junior high teachers were trained at the Perry Professional Development Building. They received 12 hours of professional development, the finance curriculum notebook, the CD-ROM, which in itself is worth $125, called Virtual Economics. All the lessons were modeled. They were given the materials to teach the lessons, and they also received the curriculum guide called What Economics is About. So for the first time in my history as economics coordinator, I am so pleased we're all on the same page as far as training and professional development. And that was great to get the grant. Then last but not least, partnerships are resource multipliers. Springdale City Public Library, in collaboration with Springdale School District, received a $34,000 grant to provide 4 financial fitness family academy nights at our middle schools for this academic year and next. So we'll pilot one. The first one will be at Sonora Middle School on Tuesday, March 18th from 5:30 to 7:30. The families will come with their students in 6th grade. So for instance, if a child comes, they must come with a guardian, a parent, aunt, uncle, grandparent, and they will rotate through 3 courses on financial literacy and saving. It's my great pleasure to introduce a very special lady tonight. Her name is Laura Spear. Would you come up, Laura? She is from the Springdale Library. She's been a librarian for 18 years in public and academic libraries in both Virginia and Arkansas. She's been a member of the referencing, programming, collection department, and technology teams at these libraries. She's worked at Fayetteville Library and now Springdale Library. She has written and also administered local, regional, and nationally awarded grants, so she has great experience in grant writing. I couldn't have been working with a nicer person, and so professional and such an expert. She's also a former gifted and talented teacher, serving both in Louisiana and Texas, so we have a lot of parallel interests, don't we? I'm dedicated to working with her. She's a special individual, and she has added much to our capacity in Springdale. The 4 middle school principals, are you present? Any middle school principals? Would you stand? Thank you. These are the middle school principals you will be working with, and I'm delighted to introduce her to the board and to Dr. Rollins. She's giving much to our families, to our students, and to our community, and she's going to speak just a little bit about the library aspect of it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me speak today, and I want to thank Joe for working with us. It's been really a joy to get to know her and to see all the wonderful things that are going on in the Springdale schools. The Springdale Public Library is one of 17 libraries in the United States that got one of these competitive grants this year. These grants come through FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority for the they oversee all of the investment firms in the United States and banking, and they're the regulatory authority that goes out and makes sure that that investors are getting a fair playground when they're out there doing their investing. And they're doing this with the American Library Association it's part of a grant that they call Smart Investing at Your Library, and that's what we're doing. The Springdale Get Smart is the name of our program, and it's going to include numerous parts. One is, the major part is our Family Academy that we're doing in the schools over the next 2 years. What we're going to be doing at those is we're going to have, as she had said, we're going to have the rotations. We have many partners who are coming in to work with us. Economic Arkansas, which y'all are already using. Also Credit Counseling of Arkansas, which is a local area nonprofit cooperative extension service of the University of Arkansas, Economic Opportunity Agency from this area, as well as the Springdale Public Schools. We're going to be doing this as a way to provide far more financial literacy in our area, and to also allow us to give families the opportunity to learn more about ways to save for college and to save for getting that house that you would love to have, or whatever your desires are, to learn how to do this in a way that will make it more successful for you. Each family that comes, the child will get a book about financial literacy, and also the family will get an additional book about family finances. We're going to be doing this in a very methodical way, and that we do pre-test and post-test, that we will be doing some evaluation, and after each one, we'll be evaluating it and making sure that we're doing what the families want, and then kind of, adjusting. And we will have translators there to help people and to translate in each one of the ones. We will also be giving out library cards, which we do everywhere we go. And also, the other part of this in the libraries is we're going to have programs for not only patrons but also for our staff, and we're going to have a financial literacy center that's part of this grant, where we're going to actually have a dedicated area with many wonderful resources, and also a web portal to help people learn to make more informed financial decisions. And this is going to be going on over the next 2 years, and we're looking forward to working with y'all. And I do have some information here for you that I was going to give you to provide.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing with us. That is terrific. I'm curious, was the grant written together with Joe, with you, and?
We had a team.
Okay.
It was a team of 4 people working together.
Well, good. Okay.
Collaboration is wonderful. Right?
Yeah.
I love working with others.
Well, that was neat to see in our agenda, when you get these little surprises every now and then like that. That's a great one, so congratulations and thank you.
Dr. Lofton, our principal at Hillstrom Middle School, has 2 great young people to recognize this evening.
Good job, guys. Good job, guys.
Well, we'll continue the conversation with economics, and I'd like to invite Ian up, and also Ms. Bishop, if they would come this way. Each year, the Economics Arkansas, they have an event where they offer students opportunity to present drawings representing economics. And last year, Ian, with Ms. Bishop's guidance, submitted a drawing, and I think you guys have a copy of that, but here is the calendar, and he was chosen to be placed in there in August, and I'll flip it to there so you can see that. But felt like that was something that we needed to recognize with Ian. We're real proud of him and what he's done. So I'll turn it over to Ian and Ms. Bishop.
I'm Ian. I go to Hellstrom Middle School. I'm 12 years old. I'm in 7th grade. Gosh, what do I say? I'm getting published in the Economics Arkansas calendar was really cool. I mean, really, I think what helped a lot with the economics topic was product market last year. We actually had a product market to where we got to choose an item to, in a sense, sell. We got money periodically through the year, or I guess half of the year. We actually had a product market in December of last year. And we periodically got money from, I don't know, good behavior, and just if we got a good grade on a test, or just things like those. But, I mean, product market really helped a lot with the economics topic, because we got to learn lots of things, like about, I don't know, just like the pricing and lots of different topics about it, I mean, we didn't get to just read things from a textbook about economics. So, I mean, we got to hands-on physically learn things, which is actually a better way, I mean, because you retain the knowledge a lot better from actually physically doing something than just reading it. And, I mean, product market was really just a really fun thing to do, because not only was it fun, but I mean, it was educational. I mean, we learned tons of things. And so, let's see, I actually got the topic from this oil rig Miss Bishop, my English teacher last year, handed me a little, I think it was like a manila folder maybe, and I opened it up, and there were, gosh, tons of economic terms, and I actually chose one, and it was capital resources. And I didn't at the time really know very well what capital resources were. So I actually asked her, I think, just what they were, and I started thinking about it for a while. And then I thought, man, oil rigs are huge. I mean, without oil, the world would be different. I mean, without oil, we don't get gasoline, and that's a huge factor in economics. And I mean, that really just kind of spoke to me, and I was like, wow, I mean, that's a big deal. That would be really cool to draw. And so I actually thought of a picture. I thought of drawing an oil rig in the ocean with a sunset behind it, and just thought that would be really neat to draw. And so I actually did. I drew it. I don't know what to say.
And you drew it well.
Thank you.
You did it. It's definitely a very good drawing for sure, and you surpassed it with what you just told us. You know, we talk about live event learning a lot, and we kind of throw around these words in education, and Dr. Jones has to explain to me what they are sometimes. But I mean, that is a perfect example of really something that, you know, you've really learned and you took hold of it. I mean, that was a great story, I think, for all of us to hear and be reminded of. So, really neat. Other questions for Ian here, not just me.
Well, it's a great picture, and it's so detailed. Where did you get this? Did you copy it, or did you just look at different pictures that were out on the internet, or how did you come up with this?
Just a good, clear picture on the internet, possibly, and I think I might have gotten a ruler, maybe, and just tried to just make the lines as straight, just try to figure out how to make it as detailed as possible, and just really just go for it, you know? I mean, there's not really much in art you can do to prepare yourself for a drawing. I mean, you just go for it. If you want to draw it, go.
So you really haven't been drawing for a long time or anything?
Well, I mean, sort of. I mean, not really like much of full-scale drawing, just little sketches of things randomly, like on a notebook page or just in class. But I mean...
Well, it just shows you're very talented.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've seen that list of economic terms. It's a long list, so you've got to learn lots of good stuff. Well, good. Well, congratulations. You've been published now. You're big time. So try to remember us, you know, as you go on in life, okay?
Do you have any opinions on the Keystone Pipeline?
Speaking of economics. Well, that's
you want
great.
to introduce your parents?
Yes, please do.
These are my parents.
Well, thank y'all for coming. Congratulations. I know you're proud. Well, good. Thank you very much. Great job.
I just want to add about product market. We do it twice a year, once in December, and then towards the end of the year. And the children, the students they thoroughly enjoy it, and they learn so much. I mean, our world revolves around economics. And they get, I believe they get a really good foundation of that. You know, pricing, advertising, you know, figuring out what kind of product will sell, and they have a really good time doing it. So, learning a lot. Thank you.
Amazing young man.
Good.
Great job.
Save money for insurance. You'll need to buy some insurance. Very important.
A little picture there. Very proud of them, and also Miss Bishop and how our teachers work to integrate economics into what we're teaching. We also have Riley Mulliken. She'd come up. Miss Packwood, come with her. And every year, the Walmart has a essay contest in commemoration of Martin Luther King Day. And we have won quite a bit at Hellstern, and this was another year which we had the opportunity. But Riley submitted an essay and won, and also got to go to Walmart headquarters and represent Springdale at one of their meetings. And it was an amazing event. First time I've ever had the chance to sit in on a Walmart meeting. And I'm going to let Riley tell you a little bit about that, and then maybe Ms. Packwood too.
Well, when Miss Packwood first told us that there was a Martin Luther King Jr. essay, I'd always really been interested in Martin Luther King Jr. and how he used nonviolence to solve his problems. And a lot of people, when they're trying to solve problems or they're in a crisis, they turn to violence. And so that's why I thought it was pretty interesting how he, because it wasn't something minor. It was a very big problem that was going out. It was going on all throughout America and really all throughout the world. And he solved that not using violence. And so I really wanted to look more into that or get more involved in that. And so I just started, the theme was, what does the next generation of MLK look like to you? So I try to incorporate how he used violence and that he's non-violence and that a lot of people now, when they think of nonviolence, they think of him, and that's really what it looks like to me, is him, how he got equality, and how in schools we have diversity of people from all different cultures and countries come, and we can learn together, and we can learn together and play together, and that we have learned.
Can I interrupt her just really quick? She has written very eloquently. She's like doing a really good job right now. But could she read her essay? It's so beautifully worded, and it's obvious why she was the winner of this contest. So
Please.
Could you go ahead and read that, because you're doing a good job, but I want to hear your essay.
Okay. Martin Luther King Jr. has inspired many people with his work and dream. I think one person who has followed that same inspiration was President Barack Obama. I think that he has shown the nation that anyone from any culture or race can live the dream. He showed us that Martin Luther King Jr. was right and we deserve equality. Most of all, President Obama has shown us Dr. King's dream of diversity and equality is that most of all, President Obama has shown us that Dr. King's dream of diversity and equality is still alive today. There are thousands of others like President Obama all over America, including in my school and community. I see his dream in my community in the diversity that is increased over the past 5 years that I have lived here. I see his dream in my school as students from different races learn together and play together. We learn about different cultures and how to respect each other and show equality. In the next couple of years, Dr. King's dream will truly shine and be alive. The diversity in my community will continue to increase. This will help the others in the community to start standing up against racism, discrimination, and injustice. The respect for other cultures in schools will truly be stronger, along with the equality in the schools. But just remember, anyone, even you, can be a part of the new generation of Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. If you believe in equality, peace, and nonviolence, you can help fulfill the dream.
All right. Good job, Riley.
And I just want to say that this was something that she did completely on her own. This was, an opportunity that we presented to our students, and we encouraged them to do it, but they did it at home, and, it was the kids that took initiative that entered the contest. And so it was just a really rewarding experience to get to see what she was capable of expressing through her words. She's a beautiful writer and beautiful girl, and we're just really thankful that she's at Hellstrom, that she was able to represent us in that way. So.
That's great. Thanks for taking that initiative, Riley. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Yes. Thank you all so much. Congratulations.
Great job. Thank you guys
Thanks.
for
All right.
coming.
Thank you, Riley. Beautiful job. Dr. Lyons. Board, we're on item F on the agenda. This is Dr. Shauna Lyons, our principal at Sonora Middle School.
Dr. Rollins on the board. As you know, the vision at Sonora Middle School, I've said it many times, is to create readers and writers and mathematicians and scientists and historians and athletes and musicians, but also artists. And so one of the questions, as I interviewed for art teachers at Sonora Middle School, my very last question to them was, are you an artist? Because I wanted to find teachers that not only were passionate about education, but also passionate about their craft and passionate about art and using their talents. And so I'd like to introduce you to Jody Elsasser, who passed the test, and she's been named Arkansas Middle School Art Educator of the Year.
This is great.
So I thought really quick, before I turn it over for questions, I had to write a letter on her behalf to the Arkansas Art Educator Organization, and so I just thought I'd read a blurb of that so you could get a sense of her classroom. Some of Jody's strengths include using best practice, such as allowing students to exercise genuine choice, control, and responsibility in their art making. Using visual art as a tool of thinking, allowing experience with a wide variety of art forms, opportunities for students to share their work, and supporting staff with integrating art across the curriculum. Ms. Elsasser assesses students using a variety of strategies, including observation, performance, and product. She provides all students with opportunities for creation, engagement, and discussion. Her classroom environment contains student and teacher-generated resources to support the current learning, as well as standards-based bulletin boards to support proficiency. She utilizes technology as a tool for providing students with interaction and 21st century support. And so it is with genuine interest in the education of all students that I thank them for recognizing her as art educator. So,
Thank you. I just want to share how much I love teaching art, and I love my students, and how I would really like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to teach here in Springdale and to represent you guys as an art educator in Arkansas.
We're glad you do that. We get to see some of that good work when we come to the building, so thanks for showing that off for us. Well, congratulations.
Mr. Don Hoover, our principal at George Junior High School, has a very special acknowledgement.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share some good news about my teacher, Mr. Chris Moore here. Chris has been at George Junior High School now for 9 years. He's been in Springdale the entire time of his career. He was at Joe Kelly for his internship. This is Springdale's, raised up and professional right here in front of us. Here's why I'm here tonight. Chris has been named from the School Band and Orchestra magazine as one of the 50 music educators across the nation to receive the Make a Difference Award. So obviously 50 in the nation, and Chris is one of them. We're very proud of him. This is a great accomplishment for himself, but for our school, our band program. His dedication, passion, and relentless pursuit of excellence for his students are some of the traits that he displays every day at George, and that's why we're recognizing him today. I want to list a few more things about Chris before I let him talk for a second. In 2005, Mr. Moore was awarded the Eldon Jansen Director Award for Meritorious Service. Mr. Moore serves as the Region Chair for the Arkansas Band and Orchestra Association. And this is a little-known fact that I learned about today because he hasn't said anything to me. It doesn't matter who you've nominated by, but Mr. Moore was nominated for a new award, the Music Educator Award, a Grammy. He was nominated for a Grammy. That's a pretty big deal in my book, so I mean, that's pretty awesome, Chris, so we're proud of you. But Chris is one of those guys that the hours can't be counted. The extra put in every night, every weekend. I've had probably plenty of talks with Chris at many times during the evening about go home, see your wife, be a family man too. You can't work 24/7, but he finds a way to do it all. Tonight he is joined by his wife Hannah, who's back there, and we're very proud to have her as our family as well. So Chris is a great educator for us, one of our finest. Mr. Chris Moore.
I guess probably one of the first things I'd want to say is, I hear a lot of times that the Springdale doesn't hire a whole lot of, straight out of college teachers. And so to have the opportunity to join the band program in Springdale, straight out of the U of A, and being here, George, has been really awesome. I do want to make sure that I thank Hannah for a lot of times going in early and staying late at school. She knows what I'm doing, but it's for our kids, and our Springdale kids and George Junior High kids are really dedicated, and they work really hard. And you got to see some of their performance at the back-to-school meeting before school began. And I want to thank Mr. Hoover for his support. I'd like to share this recognition with Mike Eccles at George Junior High. We're brothers, arm in arm, just there for our kids. And so I wish he could be here with me tonight. It's probably not 6:30 yet, and so there's still kids at school practicing, and which is where I'd be right now if Mr. Hoover hadn't asked me to come. So thank you for being here, and I want to thank Miss Bingston at Kelly Middle School. She's the one that likes to lift up the people around her, and she sent my name out a couple of times. So I want to thank Mike Eccles, Mr. Hoover, my wife, and Mrs. Bingston at Kelly Middle School. So thank you all.
Okay, before you run off, we did get a copy of what was in the magazine, I guess, so it's got some comments from you. But one of the questions or things said, key to successful career in music education. I presume these are your words. My philosophy is that the students are not there for the teacher, but the teacher is there for the students. I just thought that was just a great reminder. But I mean, the whole article about you and the information we had was terrific. So thanks for making a difference.
Well, I want to give credit to one of the U of A professors, Mr. Chow Ragsdale.
Yeah.
That was one of those quotes that blew my mind when I heard in college. And he said that students are, the teachers is there for the kids.
Yeah.
And so that's where that quote came from. So
that's terrific.
I'm glad you enjoyed that as well.
Yeah.
It was a great article, and I want to comment just on how hard you work at getting instruments for the students, the needy students, the ones that were not able to buy instruments for themselves, and how hard you work at making that happen.
It was a surprise my first year teaching that challenge, and it went on for several years, and we've got a system in place. Thank you, Dr. Rollins, for helping us with the budget. He came to George Junior High this year and presented an instrument to our kids, and so we're still working on that and with that. And Ms. Bingston is really helping my job when I go teach the beginners, because she's got a system now at Kelly Middle School, and she's doing a great job too. So we've got a lot of great teachers and principals, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Dr. Shepherd.
Nice reading that story about the little tuba player.
I am pleased to also be able to recognize 3 of our staff members who have been recognized for excellence in what they do. First of all, Mr. Michael Scott, who is one of our 8th grade social studies teachers, was recently named as the Social Studies Teacher of the Year by our local VFW post. Not only the local, but also the regional Teacher of the Year, and so now he will be a candidate for the state Social Studies Teacher of the Year. He has been teaching in Springdale for 11 years. He's taught at Springdale High School and at HAR-BER High School, and is now at Lakeside. And so we want to congratulate Mr. Scott.
It's been a great 11 years here at Springdale. I look for hopefully another 20, 30 years.
really, this award is a reflection of the people I work with and the kids there at Lakeside. I mean, it's just been a wonderful experience under Shep and my fellow teachers, two of them here that just continue to inspire me every day. So it's really everybody else that really contributed to that award. So thank you.
Congratulations.
The next two I want to recognize have both earned National Board certification, which National Board certification is the highest level of certification that a teacher can get in the nation. The process, just to give you an idea about the process, it's over 100 pages of a portfolio to demonstrate high levels of knowledge in both content and in teaching the content. They take about a half-a-day test that tests their knowledge of content. They have to do a video and submit the video to show that they really can do what they say they're doing. The process takes about 4 to 6 months to complete. There's a vigorous evaluation process where it's sent off to somewhere America where people then evaluate these. And we had 2 teachers at Lakeside who earned this certification this year, and we are very proud of both of those. First of all, Rebecca Walker, who is in her first year in Springdale. It's been 6 years in education. She teaches inclusion science with us. She has in the past been at the Arkansas School for the Deaf and at Conway High School, and she earned her certification in exceptional needs specialist, which on both of these that have earned their certifications, I'm very proud. One, and I'll introduce Kristen in a second, earned hers in teaching English as a second language, and Rebecca in exceptional needs specialist, and she is a special ed teacher at Lakeside. So we are very proud to recognize Rebecca Walker.
I'm super excited to be here at Springdale. My family relocated here from Central Arkansas, and we love it here. I love working at Lakeside with Dr. Shepard. We have a fantastic team. It's so exciting to work every day, coming in with the goal of kids in mind, not just saying that, but doing it. And it's just very exciting to be a part of it, and I'm just happy to be here.
You got here just in time for us to open that school. So.
I know, I got here just in time.
Almost like we planned that.
There you go.
Also want to introduce Kristen Groves, who is our instructional facilitator, one of our instructional facilitators. Kristen is a Springdale native, graduated from Springdale High School, has been in the Springdale district for her whole career for 11 years. Has taught at Springdale High School, at HAR-BER High School, is instructional facilitator at HAR-BER High School, and now instructional facilitator at Lakeside. So we're very proud to recognize Kristen Groves.
Hi. There are a lot of you. I just want to say thank you. Dr. Shepard said, I've had the opportunity to be here not only for my whole teaching career, but also as a student my whole life. And I could not have achieved what I did without having the great mentor of other teachers around me. I work with the best people, and I have always been blessed in my career to be around the best people, so I am just very appreciative to be where I'm at, and thank you for letting me come tonight.
Well, it's another great example of just, everybody in this district just pushes hard for your own personal initiative, or certainly helping these kids, and we appreciate that so much because it's hard work what you've done. So, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good to see you too.
Mr. Jenks, would you come forward and recognize our FFA and Mr. Scott, the great work that's going on there, or Mr. Burkett, the great work that's going on there for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I'm honored to work with some fantastic Agri teachers, and Chad Burkett is definitely one of them. He seems like, I think he's a regular on our agenda every school board meeting, which is great because he brings great news, and we've been very fortunate to be visited by the national officers of FFA. We were the first school they chose to come visit when they came about for their tour, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Burkett to give you a little bit more details.
First of all, thank you, Board. Always a pleasure to come and share what our students are accomplishing. Thank you for the opportunity. Had the opportunity this past fall in December to go speak at the National Association of Agricultural Educators, and as part of the national staff was actually attended part of our meetings, and it was to present our food science program. And you know, it's a standalone, one-of-a-kind program in the nation. From that interest spurred the interest of the National FFA organization to bring their officer team to train at Tyson Corporate. And their first school they actually want to see is they want to come see our food science facilities. And you know, a lot of times they tour for, you know, roughly 30 minutes to an hour, but they actually spent the better part of a day with us. They actually, which is sad, but they canceled on another facility, and they came and visited Springdale, and they also wanted to see Lakeside, so they toured Lakeside as well. And they interacted with our students. We'll pass around a little thank you card. It's very nice to interact with those folks because each of those officers go through a very rigorous interview process. You know, they're from different states. The process is very lengthy, about 2 weeks, and they are in their first year of college, and there's a lot of prerequisites for that. So it's a highly sought-after position. It was really cool for them to interact with our students, and now they're interacting on a daily basis through social media and things of that sort. Plus, it opened a lot of other future endeavors for our students to go on and achieve additional things. In addition to that, from that visit from the National FFA officers, we got interest from the National Ag Ed magazine, which is a publication by the Ag Council and the National FFA organization that presents best practices and highlights schools. And I actually got a call yesterday afternoon from Dr. Egger from the University of Arkansas, and we have a feature article in that. So when that comes out, I have to proofread it this evening and make sure everything is accurate there. But we've joined some of our students with those folks, and so we featured in an article of Ag Ed magazine. And there's not many public high schools that do that. That's kind of safe for you know, postdoctoral students, colleges and universities. So it's quite an honor for our program, Springdale Public Schools. One last thing, we're always hungry for anything that we can achieve, you know, within our ag department. And we've really tried to shift the paradigm of what an ag department looks like. So Mr. Rice, one of my fellow teachers, and I, we applied for a Samsung grant to infuse technology in science. And we stretched because they didn't really think of ag science, they just thought of science. So we grabbed it and we introduced some of our students' science fair and ag science fair projects. We have one young lady that's working on semi-permeable membranes in the form of food storage containers. Another young man is working with a rice research specialist at the University of Arkansas analyzing rice dust. And from that grant we actually received, we're the state finalists for Samsung. And I'll pass this around. We actually won by being the state finalists. We're competing with the other states in our union. We received 2 tablets, about roughly $1,000 worth of technology that we can send home with students so they can access things of the evening, you know. And the way it works out cool is our 2 students that were super interested that helped us achieve our state finalist status are students that may not have the, you know, necessary means as far as technology goes. So we check those out, and the other one's actually with a student this evening. We just check out a tablet. Those kids are able to take it home, access internet, and you know, it's really creative the way they're able to access internet at McDonald's or wherever, you know, they may be, and they're doing their, you know, research and things like that. If we win the national contest, there's actually 2 spots there. We would receive $50,000 worth of technology for our ag classroom, and that would be in any form or fashion that we see fit. So a lot of cool things happening. Mr. Rice and I have been communicating with Samsung, and we're really pushing hard because we would like to, you know, put that technology in the hands of our students, Springdale High School. And, you know, if we can share that knowledge with, you know, HAR-BER High School, we'd like to make that a, you know, a tradition. Maybe we can, because once you qualify, you have to kind of sit out a year, so we'd like to, you know, make that a tradition. If we couldn't dominate that from a Springdale School District standpoint and keep infusing outside monies for technology in the hands of our students. So thank you guys. We're always happy. Cool piece of technology. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank Dr. Rollins. He always makes our ag program, you know, the forefront of, you know, the ag program of the state. Mr. Jinks, very supportive. Mr. Rollins, our CTE coordinator. So, and thank you guys so much. It's an honor to serve. So, thank you, sir.
Great job. I was trying to remember, is this the 3rd year in a row of the national team that's been here to visit?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
They see something they really like, don't they?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
Springdale kids are
Thank you. Yes, sir.
When are we going to know if we win or not?
Well, we don't know yet.
Somebody
They
gave a
say
2-hour
sometime
tour,
this spring.
2
We're
still
hoping
came to
March,
your school.
early April.
That's pretty good.
So as soon as we know, I assure you, you'll hear me scream if we win. Thank you, folks. Thank you.
Great job as always. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Legislation We're on item K, and I'm very pleased to invite Ms. Annette Freeman, our principal at George. We've learned some things, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Talk to us about this article you prepared that shared some of that learning.
Okay. Can I hand this? I'll hand this out real quick. Sorry, I wrote it. Okay. A few months back, Dr. Imbo with the University of Arkansas had given my name to a friend of hers who was publishing a new book called Beyond Core Expectations, a school-wide framework for serving the not-so-common learner. And Marcia said, I don't know if anything will come out of it, but I just gave her your name, and I said, okay. She said, they'd like for you to write on one of the 6 shifts that it takes for a school to change to be ready for the Common Core standards, and especially schools that need to be able to look at how to serve students differently. So I said, oh, okay, sure. And so I wrote about student engagement. And what we did at George several years ago was I took Willard Daggett's rigor and relevance framework, and looking at the different levels of student engagement from a level 1, which is hardly any engagement, to a level 4, which is very hands-on learning, real-life learning. And I provided training for our teachers, and then our grade level reps, and then we provided training for every teacher to go observe each other in classrooms with this framework. So what I did is I took the framework, and you know how I like charts and graphs and stuff? Well, I changed that into an observation form. Randy's laughing because I turned it into an observation form, and we observed each other in class. And then we tracked the student work, how it was changing, and what we were doing instructionally for our English language learners, special needs learners, and also all students, but specifically how you get an English language learner level 2 to access that rigorous curriculum. And you saw some of that at George the other day when you were there. So I wrote about that, and then I submitted, and she said, well, if you're selected, we'll let you know. And I thought, oh, okay. And it was several months ago, so I figured, oh, well, I must not have been selected, but it was a good experience for me. And I got a call just not long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4, right over Christmas break. They said that my article that I had written had been selected to be published in the book, and the book will be published in June. And there's a whole section on what we did at George, so I'm really excited that they got selected, and our school will be represented, our district will be represented in that new book. So, and I appreciate the support that you all give us every single day, and Dr. Rollins, the support that you give me as a principal to have the leeway to just jump out and do those things, and I'm real excited. So.
Well, we're proud of you.
Thank you.
I can assure you. And we do learn as we go, don't we?
We sure do.
We try some things and kind of get it right and adjust and go forward, don't we?
Absolutely. And what I've given you is the flyer about the book. They haven't found a picture yet for it, but that flyer tells about the book. Okay, thank you.
Well, I wanted to say how much I enjoyed having lunch at your building the other day, and how amazing it is to me the efforts you're going through to get ahead of Common Core and the park testing, and you didn't mention, I mean, your school's an achieving school.
Yes, sir.
Which is just awesome, but you're not at all satisfied with that. You're trying to make sure you're staying ahead on the Common Core testing, and I was just very impressed with the efforts that you're putting in, your team's putting in, to try to be proactive as you can and get out ahead of this, the new testing setup.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You'll have to bring us a copy of the book.
Mr. Luttrell, as I ask Kathy Launder to come forward, and I hope Beverly will come forward with her, and any other support personnel that we have back there. As we do, Mike, I'd like for you to look down to the next section under item A. Dr. Jones will talk more about this in just a moment. That first, item number 1 talks about the Secretary of Education's competitive preference priority. And girls, the work you're doing, along with our nurses and Ms. Miller and moms and dads and so on and so forth, I think put us in great position to really compete for this national grant. The social services piece that provides support for children and families, which you're going to talk with us about just now, again, helps set us in a great position for this National Race to the Top grant. Thank you for all you do. We're so very proud of you, that's for sure. Kathy, tell us about your...
Dr. Rollins, Mr. Luttrell, and school board members. This is Beverly Charlton, my social services assistant, and she helps me with our day-to-day activities of feeding kids from our food pantry, providing school supplies, clothing, shoes. I also help with eyeglasses, doctor appointments, medication, some transportation, a few odds and ends that need to be done to help get these kids dental appointments also to keep them healthy and well so they're able to learn. But we received some money, and this is the second year in a row, from Sarah Hungate from Arvest Bank, and I want her to explain to you a little bit how this all happened. We were pleasantly surprised, and we're having quite fun with spending this. So anyway, I'll let Sarah explain it to you.
This is our corporate charity 1 Million Meals that we do across Arvest. And each bank, like we have Springdale, we're able to pick who is going to be able to receive the funds from donations. And I'm in this opportunity a lot to be able to present checks from Arvest. The thing that is really amazing about this $10,000 is it is not just from Arvest. This $10,000 is comprised of my associates' donations to the fund through money, and also we on top of this we donated food, and also Arvest customers come in, and this is the only charity that we do that we have the plates that we did on our lobbies, and this is from our community, from our customers and from our staff. We made a t-shirt, and we have a t-shirt contest, and I know that over $2,500 from the Springdale Arvest Associates in funds went to this. And so this is 2 years in a row that we've been able to do this. The first year that we gave this $10,000, Kathy was like, "We don't even have a bank account. Like, where are we going to put this?" And I said, "I know where you can open one." So we've done this, and it has been a joy for us. We have learned more about the schools, and this is one way we could find that we could get to our community, as a whole instead of picking one. And it's been a wonderful partnership. We get used to taking food back and forth from the branches to the building. So it's a true pleasure to be able to represent Arvest and all the people that made up this $10,000.
Good. Well, thank you, Sarah. We appreciate it. Wait, hang on. I'm going to get a picture. Y'all stand right there. I mean, I don't get to do this very often. All right, smile. There we go. We got it. Well, thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Luttrell. Mr. Hendricks, are you ready to come forward and talk to us about the iSchool?
I know that you remember before, we've had a few conversations about the iSchool, but I want to kind of briefly begin from the beginning and bring you up to speed with where we are. We want you to be our partners as we go through this. Act 601 of 2013 created the ability for schools and districts to apply to become schools of innovation. And Dr. Rollins, after that bill was passed and made into law, he dreamed big for several months, and he brought a plan that he painted with really broad strokes to his leadership team, and we embraced that. And he charged me with continuing to develop that plan, and he allowed me to pull his team together, and we did that. And we created a plan with some special definition, we thought. We assembled a group of business and community leaders and brought them together and shared our plan with them, and they liked it. The support for the plan was there. The feedback about the plan for this school was good. We shared the plan again with you, Patron Shelf, Joint Council, and other groups, and just continued to get good feedback. And so we continued to model this plan and shape it in a very special way. Currently, I'm working with an advisory group of our own teachers and department chairs and counselors and principals and content specialists to continue to refine that plan. And so what I want to spend just a minute with you is going over what the plan for the school looks like right this second, and I will be brief. But the students that would be in this school are students that want or need flexibility in their learning. The school will be challenging, engaging, and refreshing. It is not a comprehensive high school like two of the high schools that we have, meaning it won't have all of the advanced placement and IB and fine arts offerings that our other schools have. But it's a school where students will have flexibility and support in their learning. We'll use mastery-based learning, which is the mechanism that students can kind of go at their own speed, and project-based learning, where students can demonstrate their understanding and mastery of the curriculum in unique and creative ways. They'll have access, as always, as you would expect, to highly qualified teachers, and they'll be able to progress at their own speed. The school will have no bell schedule. It will have few defined meeting times, and in our vision for it right now, students will be able to select their location in the school and begin to work there wherever they feel the most comfortable and access support from their teachers as they need it, especially in the 8th and 9th grade portion of the school. 10th through 12th grade, I know you'll remember we've talked about students taking college courses and getting high school and college credit for those courses, in that way satisfying their graduation requirements for a high school diploma and an associate's degree in their 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years. And in those later years, 10th through 12th, students will still have a lot of flexibility and access to the teaching staff, but the school will begin to look a little bit more like a traditional college to get them prepared for continuing on to a university or for the workplace. So those are important designs and a design change there between the 9th and the 10th grade. And finally, we want students to be able to choose a major, and not in a way to limit them at all, but to help maybe so they can be advised and think about what they want to be when they grow up. And then after they commit that to paper, the next semester and the next year, they would have an opportunity to look back on that and reflect, is that still my goal? Why was that my goal? Why is my thinking different? Why are my goals different? And so we don't want to limit students at all, but we want to put a mechanism in place where they can reflect and be thoughtful about what they want to be when they grow up. As well, included in the packet, in addition to the School of Innovation piece, is a tentative timeline, and I want to talk to you about your part on that timeline. We have several things that we are going to accomplish over the next month. It is my intention to be able to stand in front of you and bring to you the plan for the iSchool that we will ask for you to approve at that time. By that time, it will have gone through multiple levels of vetting and voting and discussion and refining, and I'll need your approval next month so that we can take it to the Commissioner of ADE, who will be able to approve it. And those are important steps for you, and I need you to, we'll be sending you things throughout the month, I believe, to prepare for that. We're working right now on the process for interviewing possible school leaders so that we can use that individual to help us look at school staff. We're doing curriculum work. There's a lot of work left to be done, but we want you to be informed. And we want you to be as inspired as we are about the process and the possibilities for this school. It's a very exciting endeavor, and I thank you for your support in this endeavor. And I look forward to bringing you the plan next month, sharing that with you.
I certainly want to leave an opportunity for board members to ask you questions or talk about this. This is one of the we've got lots of exciting things on our agenda, but this was certainly an interesting piece for us to look at, I think. And
So the funding plan is driven partly by the race to the top money for next year, or is this going to be?
It's not necessarily, there are some pieces of race to the top that might fund this school like it funds every other school. But the funding for this school comes from foundation funding and just all the sources that a typical school would have. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about adding staff and et cetera.
These students, wherever they come from, other junior high schools or wherever, they will generate foundation funding to pay for the staff that is in the school.
do you know yet what the typical student might look like that would come be a part of this as you look at your plan and you're looking at 8th and 9th graders, or I guess 7th and 8th, current 7th and 8th graders right now?
Will be 8th graders next
So what does that student look like?
That's interesting, and I've tried to really not define that. I've tried to just really define a school where a lot of different kids could be successful. I don't assume that these will be the very highest achieving students that we have that will populate this school. It is not our intention to create an elite type school. That is not our intention. those students do very well in the comprehensive high schools that we have. We're trying to make a school that can support students that need some flexibility in their learning. And as I think about the possibility for getting college credit, and they can get college credit with our teachers and our facility, with our support, that is a way we can support our students in a way that we've really never been able to. So I hope that answers your question. I hope time will tell what kind of students are in this school. Absolutely.
So maybe kids get credit that only AP students have been able to get that would transfer to college?
Right. There have been some concurrent credit courses in our high schools for a while, not to this magnitude. You know, when we talk about students getting 63 plus hours of college credit during their high school career.
Are they going to have to pay any tuition, or do we pay any funds to the partner in this endeavor?
There are a few models that we're looking at from schools that have been successfully doing this across the nation, and there's a sliding scale fee option. There's an option of a foundation, working really closely with the community college, to make the cost as low as it can be. So those pieces keep moving. I'm satisfied that we're on the way to a really good resolution to that.
I think the biggest question I have in my mind is, how is a student going to possibly transfer in and out? If you've been in it for several years and you want to go back to a traditional high school, are we going to allow that? And vice versa, someone from a traditional high school coming in if they haven't been there 8 and 9.
Right. I am not sure how a student would come from a traditional high school in, unless they came at just the beginning of a school year. That might work. We plan to prepare these students really well for those college courses, so a student that was also prepared well, it seems that they could certainly come in. It would be hard for them to come in after the 10th grade and get enough college credit to get that associate's degree. Transferring out, credits will be added to the transcript of these students just as they are in a traditional school, just not on the exact same timeline. So they should be able to transfer out. Obviously, I don't want anyone to necessarily want to transfer out, but if they need to, it absolutely is a possibility.
So is this going to be strictly an academic school? Are there going to be any extracurriculars? I mean, like choir, band, athletics, anything?
That's a topic that the advisory committee is working through right now. We meet again Thursday. Just some vision that I have given to it, may be incorrect, and it's certainly not decided, is that students would have the option to go to one period of athletics or fine art at their zoned school during the day. That would limit, I think, way too many students if they didn't have access, to that one thing that was so near and dear to their heart. And that's a detail we're still working on.
Kevin, additional questions?
Describe the difference in this in the ALE programs.
In the ALE program, there's a lot of support for students, but as far as the bell schedule and students moving from class to class in a very orderly and prescribed way that is really beyond the control of students, that's what you see in ALE. They have longer blocks. They do have some mastery learning, but this is a great acceleration of the mastery learning and flexibility and scheduling. Does that answer?
It's really interesting. I mean, we enjoy learning and hearing about it, and thank you for some of the detail that you've been able to give us this time, that kind of starting to have some life to it, so good luck. Keep up the good work.
Thanks so much.
No bar charts with it either.
So sorry, Kevin.
No,
Next
I
time.
like it.
Okay.
I kept waiting, and nothing happened up here.
Not this month. I'm sorry, guys.
Thank you very much.
Earlier, you were talking about kids all over the district, every grade level. Did y'all see that tonight? As we brought kids forward, you just saw kids from, in my opinion, each of our schools. Thank you for your partnership.
You've got really good hearing. Because I whispered that to her. How in the world do you hear that?
Pay attention, y'all.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to whisper softer.
The 89th General Assembly is underway. It began yesterday in Little Rock. I sent the board a letter in the last few days just reminding you of the changes that this General Assembly will be considering. The state has a $5 billion budget. $2 billion plus of that goes to the public schools of the state. We'll be very interested in the way this General Assembly addresses the recommendation of the Adequacy Committee. If you followed that approach over the last few years, we've seen like a 2% annual adjustment recommended to keep the state moving forward, taking into account the variety of experiences and the cost associated with those that come through the 234 school districts in the state of Arkansas. The governor has recommended a $105 million increase in the funding this year. $69 million of that is in the public school fund. Obviously, as we follow this conversation, I've tried to give you some background information, and I hope to give you much more in the days ahead. The private option piece is going to be a major conversation because of the amount of money that it represents. It's my understanding that we're talking about $89 million associated with the private funding piece. And from my point of view, and I realize there's a lot of debate about national health care and so forth, I would encourage us to think about the very examples that we deal with here every day. Arkansas is a poor state. 65 to 70% of its people live in poverty. Insurance for people living in poverty is a major challenge. Our governor, our legislature negotiated an arrangement this past year with the federal government to help with the subsidy for low-income health care. Now, I would just, again, ask us all to be reflective. The health of our citizens is critically important, and the private option provides an avenue to address that through the assistance of the federal government. Should our legislators, who just barely passed that in the prior session, decide not to re-up or refund the model again, then decisions have to be made in regard to this budget. I think our concern would be for the state as a whole and the citizens of the state. As we bring that home to the public schools, we have to be anxious about the $65 million that is going in to support this 2% increase for our public school students. It's real important, I think, that we all just try to be students of the game. Contacts with our legislators are vitally important on issues that affect the state and that obviously could come forward in regard to our public schools. A major issue, I'm a little bit surprised to see the Common Core state standards addressed in day one of this legislative session. This is a fiscal session, and although we've not had a lot of history with this fiscal session format, I gave you a copy of a piece of legislation where the Common Core is being significantly addressed by eliminating funding for its implementation. That's major. Our school district has been very involved in trying to bring these new learning standards forward for the last 2 years, and frankly, well beyond that. We understand there's a growing resistance among select groups across the country. I have visited with the author of this bill. As you see, it's our local representative, Representative Alexander, who's the sponsor of the bill. Let me just come back to where we have been. And I would encourage you to be thoughtful about the way you've been prepared to address the Common Core. We live in an age where public schools need to get better. We live that, breathe it every day. Our investment in the Common Core has been because we believe those standards are much higher standards learning standards than we've had in the past. We believe this process has been put together by a coalition of states across the country. This is an extension of work done by the governors of the states and by the chief state school officers. Dr. Kimbrell has played a major role in the national coalition that has helped bring those standards forward. So our position in regard to the standards is that they represent a significant effort for us to get better, for us to stretch, to make the learning more rigorous, more real, more applicable. Every time that we meet, we give you examples of the extension of the learning, and we're trying to figure out how to get there. The new standards have been written. They have been vetted at the state levels. Now we see an assessment system emerging to measure the progress of our kids once they are exposed to learning strategies that are specific to these new standards. From our point of view, this is just an effort to get better. It's an effort to stretch. It's an effort to improve. There are those who would bring a different thought process to the table. My encouragement is for you to be learners about that. You sit in a very important position. You, through your actions, you create, as I say over and over again, a foundation that our educators can do their work from, that our teachers can do their work from. These teachers in front of you tonight need your support and your encouragement. Frankly, they need the support and encouragement of other political bodies as well. But we're realists. We live in a world where there are different opinions about the issues of the day, and I'm respectful of all that. So we just need to be learners, and if we believe that we're moving forward with the idea of trying to improve and get better, my hope is that we'll call our legislators and tell them. The author of that bill didn't call me and ask my opinion about it before he presented it on day one of this session. So, you know, our representatives theoretically are elected to represent our people and our points of view. And about 93 to 94% of the school-aged children in northwest Arkansas are public school kids. And I would hope that the representatives who are elected would take those views into account as well. But I could go further down that road, but I won't do that. I just gave you an example of some of the legislation that's going to come forward. Again, the intent is for this to be a fiscal session. I referenced the private option because everybody's a little shaky about how state budgets might be affected if the legislature votes in this session not to support the endorsement again of the private option piece. We're on a good and positive path. I think the financial plan of the state is sound. I think we see economic recovery coming forward, but all of these issues work together to create a workforce that can contribute to economic recovery as well. So there's so many different pieces. Mike, I gave you a specific listing. I looked at the general foundation funding. I looked at each of the categorical pieces so that you'll know how resources will come forward if, in fact, the legislature endorses the governor's recommendation and the state financial plan. So I'll leave it at that. Randy, anything? Go ahead.
Does this address the building partnership, the percentages and stuff that we're waiting on to find out how much they might contribute to our projects and stuff? Is that play in here anywhere?
The school facility piece, the school facility partnerships, you've heard me say over and over again, the monies that are in the partnership fund has to be endorsed by this legislature or affirmed to this legislature for that to have any life. So it absolutely does. And my expectation is that this session, like many, will probably be a tug of war on many issues. But I believe that given the protection of the Lakeview lawsuit and the constitutional mandates that came forward, that adequacy funding piece will be protected. Should it not, then things will get, I think, really interesting in terms of the financial picture for the state, because that is a constitutional mandate And by that, a state committee meets every year prior to the legislature convening, makes recommendations. And so that's very definitely a part of the validity of our plan. Okay. Other questions, Mr. Luttrell? They've just started, and y'all are very good to follow the work of the legislature, and I'd really encourage you to do that. And from my perspective, I'll give you whatever information that I can bring forward as well.
And I might just add, too, that the Arkansas School Board Association is usually good to inform us from time to time if there are issues they feel like merit our engagement or comments back to any of our legislators. You might just be aware of that it will show up in your email inbox from time to time, and you'll closely look at that. And usually they're not going to overwhelm us with things they want us to take a look at, but when it's something from them, it's usually pretty significant that they want us to participate in that action. I don't know if you have anything to add to that because of your service on ASBA, just some of their grassroots.
No, I think they're great.
This last piece of information that I'm handing to you was put together by Mr. Cleveland. He has done a lot of great work with the financial plan for the state, and he looked specifically at this private funding option and has given you some summary comments that might help you with your thoughts on that. Mr. Luttrell, if there are no other questions, I'm going to go forward to the last item on my section of the agenda. This has to do with the financial plan, if you will, for the HAR-BER High School Stadium. I want to thank the school board. In November, the board approved a request that I had made to make available $5.5 million to support the construction of the new stadium at HAR-BER High School. We've taken bids on that project. We've worked through the process to get our facility within the $5.5 million. I'm very happy that I can report to you that process is complete. We have contracts in place that would set that action into motion, and my encouragement to the board is to continue with the position that you've been in, and I know there's no change in that position, but I'm just reporting to you that we've been able to meet the conditions that this board has recommended. We're prepared to go to work tomorrow, weather permitting. I think we still have hope. Obviously, we can't look at February 20th or 28th or March or whatever, but it's our hope is that we have good weather. We have appropriate working conditions, Kevin, and we have every chance to get that facility ready by the fall season. That's our heart. That's our goal. We'll be working to accomplish that. So any questions from the board, I'll be happy to address it. Otherwise, we'll sign our contracts and get to work.
I guess you're still working on the other projects we talked about that same meeting.
Yes. Before I leave that one, and I'll say that in jest because Mr. Caesar, he's a wonderful guy to work with and a great partner. But as hard as we work to try to get this where we are today, as I met with him today, he wanted to talk about the other projects. So thank you, Jack.
I know those are big deals too, so.
Yes, they are major. And I appreciate Randy's question very much as well. Partnership funding will undergird our new school construction and the additions to our media centers, et cetera. And I'm going to be very optimistic about that. I know there will be some pushes and pulls in regard to that process, but if all that comes together, we've got a good game plan to bring it forward, and we will get about addressing that plan. At my recollection at this point is we're looking at opening our first new elementary school in this phase in 2016 and the second in 2018. So we're working on the planning and design and preparedness for that. We've got media centers at Elmdale and Smith, that we've certainly planned, and that they're looking. We've got a good plan. So, Mike, yes, we'll move those forward as well. And as I look at Randy, getting HAR-BER coming forward is major, and we're ready to do that. And right on the heels of that, we'll come back to Springdale High and look at the renovations there to bring that facility forward, just as we've discussed with this board. So we've got an excellent architect. We've got an excellent construction management team that works with us, and it is a tug of war now sometimes to get everything where it has to be, and so you have to have great partners to breathe life into all that. And I know I'm really looking forward to our HAR-BER Stadium coming forward, so the kids out there will have a home field to play on and so forth.
Dr. Rollins, I want to, thank you for your hard work. Sometimes I tell myself I try to count to 10 before I hit send on an email, and I think I got to 9.5 before I hit send on that one. But I think you've accomplished exactly what you set out to accomplish with us when we approved this in November. So hats off to the challenge that you faced, and maybe the pressure cooker and the timer's on to get in the football stadium, but it's not really all about football. It's about Springdale, the community of Springdale, having that accomplished and completed. And what you and I talked about on the phone last week about how it will help develop our kids, having that facility there, and now both high schools having that facility. So we got a lot to look forward to, not just at HAR-BER, but for the rest of our schools.
And I thank y'all so much for your input and suggestions. I mean that. It's what makes us work. This is a team, and y'all are a big part of it.
You got a lot of work to do, and we understand that, and we support that. And it's just the way it is, right?
Yes, sir. And it is a privilege. So, we good? We ready to go?
Well, Jack understands.
Get it done now, right?
Jack understands where he stands.
I tell him and I tell him. I don't know what.
Charge of all sunny days between now and then, so good luck, Patrick. We're good.
Any other questions of me, Mr. Luttrell?
I don't think so.
Thank you all. You want to stretch or you want to go forward?
What's that?
Would you like to stretch?
If we could just take about 5 minutes. I show it's 7:13, so 7:18. I know that's quick, but we'll just try to get in and out. Oh, sorry, Michelle. I'm glad I did.
She's on a mission.
My lid on my ink pen fell off, and you're never going to find it. I thought it went over my ear. But the guy that's deaf in one ear that starts trying to figure out things. I stole it from a residence inn, so, no big deal. Okay? Don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm not sounding.
So Kevin, you reached 9.5?
Oh, that.
I was thinking that is right.
This is the first page.
I didn't know if that's still active.
Yes, it is. It is.
Don't worry.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
I am trying to, I mean, I know David Van Beverly dressed this way. It's the 11. I should know this.
Oh, my goodness.
Giddy up. And to conclude.
It's over.
Boogie, boogie.
Did you see me down there? That's a little too close. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you.
I keep thinking they have got to build for ourselves.
She wasn't there.
They've got to. Did I hear?
Where did I hear? Emerald.
I saw him mention that while take out 10 seats and put a recliner.
Dr. Kimball?
A warming chair. I mean, there's something. She's not going to sit down. You're part of the agenda, so take it away.
Thank you. I have three informational items, and one of which I've laid a letter on your table that is from a colleague that we're going to be working with by the name of Joe DiMartino. And the reason the letter is being lifted up to you is before we even had anything from the Race to the Top, Joe DiMartino became a partner with us, and he's been so complimentary to the district. And this letter is a genuine indicator of what he has told the superintendent many times and is now reflecting in writing. And he wanted you as a board to know how he feels about this school district. So, Dr. Rollins, any other comments you'd like to make about Joe's letter?
I'm just so pleased we'll have the privilege to work with him. I think that's great.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda has to do with the Secretary's competitive preference priority. As we think about the Race to the Top and we begin to unpeel it or unpack it, so to speak, you're going to see more elements of it being brought forward. And the aspect of it that Dr. Rollins has already referred to is the area that we like to call the whole child. It isn't sufficient to suggest that we're going to only address how a youngster's academic scores are impacting the district's overall. What we know is that you have to take care of the whole child through the social services aspect. And I'm not intending to read to you any of this, it's all here for your perusal, but there are so many partnerships that we have that help us meet the needs of the whole child. And as Joe DiMartino noted, because he's quite expert in the federal government granting, this grant rested so much heavier on what you proved you had already done as opposed to what you were planning to do in terms of how the points came about, that when it came to the Secretary's priority, we were well positioned to have a very, very high score. And so as you look through all the partnerships, we can even add to them, it was an intention to say we do indeed care about the whole child. Any questions about that? There will be evaluative pieces to the Race to the Top related specifically to the competitive priority. I haven't brought forward any of the evaluation yet, but we will do that in pieces as well. Hearing no questions, I'll move on. You will note that we will be bringing forward contracts or agreements that are part of the total grant. We had Kelly Hayes today talk to our contact person at the state, or at the U.S. Department of Education in Washington, to assure us that we were now capable of spending money. And the affirmation, Kelly, is yes, we are in a position of spending money. The superintendent has the authority to sign contracts as appropriate. The grants, but line item budgets have been approved. The first memo that Kim Garrett has brought forward is for a summer institute in professional learning communities. This is a keystone to helping make some of the major changes, particularly in secondary school reform and curriculum implementation related to Common Core and the park. So professional learning communities, a partnership is being brought forward through Solution Tree, who are the hosts to the Dufour system that's been brought forward in the past as far as a premier model of professional learning communities. So in full transparency to you as a board and to our community, we bring this forward so you'll see the exact conditions of the grant and the amount of money connected to it. The last item is also a major keystone, cornerstone of our work as we look at secondary school reform, and that basically takes in about 6 of the projects, the first 5, and then the professional learning communities piece. The first 5 projects having to do with seat time and schedule and advisories and student-led conferencing, as well as the professional learning community and the multiple pathways. Everything Clay talked about in terms of the iSchool as an incubator for secondary school reform is embedded in the support that Joe DiMartino is going to bring to us. Things like seat time waiver, he was instrumental in assisting New Hampshire in getting their schools ready for those kinds of significant changes. It's triggered, you can't have seat time waiver without talking about the bell schedule. You can't talk about the bell schedule and seat time waiver changes if you don't talk about advisories. So all those projects blend together, and Joe DiMartino is a nationally renowned expert, and amazingly has nationally renowned experts surrounding him from all over the United States that will now become our partners as we work forward. He has cut his rate effectively in half because we put caps on how much we were willing to pay, and he said, I have such a great interest in Springdale that I'm willing to even lower it less than my discounted rate. So we feel very fortunate because I think he knows that he's going to use us as a demonstration site for other schools that he's also working with. This contract is laid out for 4 years. However, it will be reviewed each year. Its days may be slightly variable simply because we'll front load more than maybe, we don't exactly know how many days we're going to need, but we're anticipating front loading some. So there's a little bit of waiver if you look on page 105 on your handout, or if you're online, to the exact amount of dollars, but it will not exceed the amount listed in the bottom right corner. We are fortunate that he is interested in us, and as you know, his group helped me tremendously with no promise of a contract in writing the Race to the Top grant. So when I say I had a partner, it was one of his staff members that assisted me. Any questions about that or further comment?
How long have you worked with this organization? Did it start a couple of years ago when we first did the first Race to the Top grant, or was it?
Yes, yeah. And we had had him come even prior to that, a year prior to that. So we've been in communication with them over the last 2.5 years or so.
So will there be any point where we can meet him? Or?
Well, yes. My hope would be that maybe he'll be here on a board meeting night. That's a great idea. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay.
So maybe our work session day?
I'll check and see what he's given us a calendar, and let me just look and see. I think that's a great idea as well.
I think it's a real good idea.
Good, super. Dr. Rollins? We might want to make note, Jeff is suggesting that maybe if we could get Joe DiMartino down or Kathy either for the work session or board meeting, you might want to consider that. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello, how are y'all tonight?
Good.
In your packets, there is some information there about the Every Artist Live event that occurred back in November Our students in grades 1 through 6 had the opportunity to participate in this and to draw a picture based on the idea of gratitude. Those pictures were uploaded and they can be found on a website. But even better than that, if you'll go down to the Jones Center, we have a lot of those pictures on display down there. If you've not had a chance to go down there and look at that, it will warm your heart. I was there on the Saturday that they were first put up for display, and it was so much fun. I sat on a bench and literally took pictures of children as they were showing their parents their art and how excited they were to be an artist on display at the Jones Center. So I would encourage you to go there. I've got a couple of other items. One is that 2 of our schools were selected by the National Center for Educational Achievement, NCEA, which is a part of the ACT test. And only 29 schools in the state of Arkansas were selected, and we have 2 here in Springdale, John Tyson Elementary and Helen Tyson Middle School. Ms. Buchanan was here earlier and then had another appointment. She had to leave, but Dr. Sherwood is still here. So Dr. Sherwood is here, and he's been very proud to take over that school this year and has done a marvelous job with that. John Tyson Elementary was selected in the areas of literacy and science, both in performance and in growth. So that was quite an accomplishment. Helen Tyson Middle School was selected in the area of math and science in the area of performance. So kudos to both of those schools, well deserved for that recognition. Also, we had John Tyson Elementary School as well as Helen Tyson Middle School, as well as 3 of our other schools, Walker, Young, and Hunt. Ms. Dozier had to leave, but Ms. Flora and Ms. Freisinger are still here, so if y'all will please wave. And Dr. Sherwood is still in this group, so he's still here. But those schools were a part of the Arkansas Recognition and Rewards Program. Those schools received money for their performance. 3 of them were in the 10% of the schools in our state in their performance areas. They receive a certain amount of money per child, and then the other 2 schools were in the top 20%. So this is quite a coup for our district. This is very high performance for them. When they received the money, they were given a list, and you can look through your materials there of how they could spend the money. And I have to share this with you. One of the options they had was they could have given themselves stipends, not even a consideration among any of our 5 schools. They said, no, this money needs to be put toward helping our children to continue to improve. So you've got a list there of how the monies were spent, mostly for supplies and materials, to purchase time, tutoring after school. That was where they wanted to put their money. The requirement for that was to have parents and teachers and administrators make those decisions. And I have to tell you, I attended the one at Tyson Elementary on one of our snow days. The teachers came in that day, that afternoon, because they felt like this was so important. They wanted to be there to make those decisions. So I wanted y'all to know that, and this is also part of our big audacious goals, and this is how our schools are performing. We are seeing growth, we are seeing performance, and we certainly intend to keep that moving forward. Okay.
Well, that's terrific. I mean, I noticed with all those schools together, it was over $200,000 of grant money, so congratulations to each of those principals, and what a neat opportunity to impact some kids some more, so.
We're very proud of them, and there are other schools that are performing very well too. So, but these 5 were just outstanding. I wanted to share that with you.
That's great. Good.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Cleveland, are you ready?
Good evening. I have Ms. Kimberly Glass with me tonight to provide any information that you may like to know about some of the policies. We have an upcoming ACCEP review, and we need to make sure that all of our policies are in line to make sure that we're in compliance. Ms. Glass and some of her team have gone through our policies right now and have identified actually, I guess it's 6 policies that we need to review. 2 are new, but follow our practice. 2 of the policies, as you can see, are our homeless students policy and our alternative learning environment program, our ALE policy. We need to have those written out, spelled out, and in the board review, our board policy. So you've probably read through those 2 policies in your packet. I'd be glad to entertain any questions on those 2 policies. Ms. Glass is here as well. Otherwise, I can move forward to the next 4. Any questions? Okay, let's follow practice. The next 4 policies, also alternative learning environment, which is DPC, professional development, DPB, the codes, National School Lunch Act funding expenditures, NSLA, code DPA, and the English Language Learners, ELL, code DPD. Basically, these policies identify that, yes, we do have those categorical funds. They are restricted, and we will review those annually. It's verbiage, but it's necessary.
Was this just something to be in compliance with?
Absolutely.
Either federal or state or, okay.
Absolutely. And that's our job, is to make sure that your policies are set and ready so you don't have any hiccups.
Right.
Dr. Rollins doesn't like those.
So do we need to handle each one of these individually, or can we do them as a group, or how do we need to proceed?
You can, at the recommendation of the superintendent, do them as a bunch if you like.
I think that'd be the way to do them. They're straightforward, I believe, and procedural.
Yes, sir.
Okay, board, well, we have 6 different policies that are listed here, so I'll accept a motion for all of them at one time, if that's the desire of whoever makes the motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the 6 policies listed here, either the 2 new ones and the 4 that are amended, to make them part of our help me here, part of our update. There you go, of our policies. Here we go.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Hutchinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Ms. McFetridge. Are there any other questions for Mr. Cleveland on this before we take our vote? Okay. All in favor of accepting the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none, so the motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to commend Ms. Glass and her group. They did quite a bit of work and brought these together, so appreciate her and her efforts. My next phase of my presentation is just an update on the calendar. I provided you
gave
with
us something, didn't you?
a copy of what we put out on the district calendar. I affectionately refer to this as our snow tracking day calendar.
Our what?
Our snow tracking calendar, because you can see the days that we've missed, we've highlighted in purple just to make them very obvious. The second copy that I provided you was the snow day conversion chart. Okay? That way you know which day that we missed is related to the appropriate day that we missed. Who was it? I believe Kelly Hayes identified the other day that I like to see pictures. I like looking at pictures. So I made a graphic, okay? And actually my secretary did a nice job doing that. But it does bring some simplicity to it, and it makes it very clear. And we just wanted to make sure we did that. I'd like to also tell you, there's been a little bit of communication about making up the days on Saturdays and the 2 days in spring break. I understand that. But your focus, the way I understand it, and from Dr. Rollins, your focus is on student achievement and providing the most opportunity for those children, for our children, to be in front of good quality, high quality instruction, so there's great teaching and learning going on a daily basis. And if we were to go backwards and put all of our missed days at the end of the year, then there's not a true accurate measure when it's time to take those end-of-course exams and the benchmark exam. So I'd like to thank you publicly as a parent of children that go here. Even though it's a little tough, it's a great policy and a great stance, and that's just from the parent perspective. But from an employee perspective too, even though there's a little angst with it, it's really a great thing you did in 2010 to set up for this. Even though it's a bad circumstance, it's really a great opportunity. And I think other districts are looking at what Springdale does and maybe be modeling what we do here for their districts. I've had several conversations with other superintendents about what we're doing. Anyway, Dr. Rollins, if there are any questions of the board?
I have a question on Saturday school. Will it be a full day?
Yes, ma'am. We have to,
Regular?
360 minutes of instruction. Everyone will be here as far as the teachers, instructional assistants. We'll have buses, meals, breakfast, lunch, the whole bit. I think the only thing that we won't have would be the after-school service, after-school care and programs.
And then what are we telling our parents about spring break? If they do have plans, we're going to...
Rick Schaefer has done an excellent job of putting out on Facebook. I think Dr. Rollins may have sent you some information about the number of followers we have, 10,000 hits and all those kinds of things. But he's putting out information about we will work with parents. We understand plans happen. It's almost like a planned absence. The students will still need to do their work.
Sure.
But, we're not going to negatively operate on a child. That's a bad word, but we're not going to impact negatively a child. Just not.
Well, good.
That's what I've been telling people. I just wanted to have it reinforced.
Rick did a good job on TV the other day. I saw him, and he said, look, we're...
Sorry, I missed it, Rick.
Yeah.
It's okay.
He really did a nice job of saying, look, we understand, but this is an interesting time, special circumstances, and we want to make sure that we provide good quality instruction on those days. It's not a free day, it's not a pass day, it's a student contact day, just like if it were in the middle of the week.
Well, and I appreciate that there was some planning done prior to this, so we knew from a policy perspective what we would do if something like this happened, that we did build in some days in the calendar, that we did have a plan if we got past those days. So at least, none of us are wild and crazy about it. I'm sure, Dr. Compton, you're about tired of snow on the ground when you guys are trying to do all you do in your department, but it is what it is, and we just all have to battle through it.
It is. The snow was absolutely all Dr. Compton's fault.
Okay. Make note of that, yes.
Wondering
Make
who
sure
we
the
could
minutes
blame.
reflect that, Cynthia, that we can put that at
Nice, baby.
Very good, all right.
If there are no further questions,
I bet we're good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it.
Gary?
You can rebuttal now.
Yeah, that's right. He forgets you get the money.
Hey, Dr. Go last. Before you start, what exactly does limited bus service mean?
Good question.
And if you can get everybody to school on limited bus service, why don't you run limited bus service all the time?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Thank you so much. We've
question for you right off the bat.
I just want to get two real easy questions out of the way
Thank you.
before you get.
obviously, limited bus service means we can't run our full schedule. And because those conditions change hour by hour and day by day, week by week, we really try to leave that up to the drivers. We have a very good understanding of some areas, but day by day, those drivers will make a determination, I can get to that area or that I can't. And the beauty of it, that we've learned anyway, is that moms and dads really understand that pretty well. They live there every day. They know that it's difficult to get their car or their four-wheel drive down and back out again. So we have some experience with that. It's worked pretty well. We had a few calls and concerns, justifiably so. We probably deserve those. I've checked around with other districts, and maybe the answer might be, let's take a large open parking lot area and we'll try to congregate, have many buses get to that area. The problem with that is that many parents can't get there. If we can't get to their house, chances are they can't get to a large drop-off area. But we're exploring some different ways in which to publicize that, actually create limited bus route drop-off points based on our history. It's a good idea that we need to explore that and try to get better at what we do. All in all, it worked pretty well. Even though limited didn't have a definition, it was pretty clear that moms and dads pretty clearly understood what was limited. They just knew that. So, and you're right, we do have some issues. We're going to address that too. So, Anyway, Mike and members of the board and Dr. Rollins, thanks for the opportunity up here. Dr. Rollins has been talking about the weather a lot. He said this winter has been so bad, it actually started in the fall, and that's a really good comment. We have had a rough time, and I do want to give some compliments to Junior Copeland and his crew. It's pretty interesting when you see some of our people at work at 6 o'clock in the morning when it's 5 degrees and the wind is howling, and they're up trying to take care of a rooftop unit and things like that. We've had that going on a lot. We tried to get out there and plow the very, very best that we could using all of our equipment, and it was just rough weather circumstances. No matter what we did, we'd get the snow off, and then we'd have rain, and we'd have ice that got everywhere, and the temperatures never allowed us to really get after it the way we wanted to. But all in all, the schools were in safe conditions. The grounds around were pretty rough at times, probably just like your own driveway or your own sidewalk. We did have some rough circumstances, but
Dr. Compton, were we aware of anybody associated with school that maybe slipped on the ice?
No.
Okay.
We had a couple circumstances. There may have been a few falls or a few tumbles here and there. I see you looking this way, Danny, but I'm not sure about what we had on all of our campuses. But all in all, went pretty good. It went pretty good. Thanks for bringing that up, Danny. I also want to talk about the drivers. If you were on the expressways or driving around a little bit, the roads were awful as well. Our drivers had a pretty good sequence for the last 2 months. We haven't had any accidents of any magnitude. We had a couple fender benders, and we were the ones that got hit by cars that slid into us. So kudos to all those maintenance workers, custodial people who try to do the good work around schools, and our bus drivers who have had a very safe several months in some really rough circumstances. You can see that we've got a contract on our George Wellness Center. We're excited about that. They've got all their construction equipment on site. They're ready to go. They actually started with some minor work. We look for that to be done very quickly. That company, by the way, Construction Solutions, that's Wes Taylor, Springdale High graduate, guy that runs this company here in town, and we're real excited about his opportunity to work with us. Just a couple other minor things in the report. Dr. Brown was up here earlier. We've worked with her on her plan out at Central, and I am excited about that. The front of that building, the side that faces Gutensong, the tennis courts, you've all commented on that. I think we can make that a much better facade and look by the time we get in here next fall. I'm real excited about that look. I know Dr. Rollins and I have talked, and it's a building that can use a little TLC, and she's really got a good plan and some good fundraising mechanisms in place to pull that off. So that's pretty exciting. You can see we had a little unfortunate accident over at Springdale High School. Our decorative brick wall where we're putting up a flagpole got taken out by a driver one morning. We've replaced that brick, and we've got a concrete cap that we're waiting on. That'll get done in a hurry. We're real anxious about that. And then I did want to tell you, too, that the master plan, the last thing on my report, that master plan that you approved last month has been submitted to the state. It's already been accepted and approved by the state. And that's really a good thing for us. Now, the funding of it is a different question. We don't hear about the funding until May of 15, and as Dr. Rollins rightfully said, that'll be contingent on this financial session now and how much money they actually set aside in the facilities division. It's a real important visit, by the way. I indicate in my memo here February 17th. That is actually February 19th. Dr. Stein, Charles Stein, who's the head of that division, is coming to our district for a day-long visit. He wants to see how we've spent the millions and millions of dollars that the state has given us in all of the projects that go back for the last 8 or 9 years. So Dr. Rollins will get a chance to meet with him. I'm going to tour him around the facilities, and he's real anxious to see a growing district and how we've done with all of our projects. So it's a real exciting time. To have him here is a big deal, and I'm going to make certain that he understands all that we've done. But important for us, I want to make sure he understands all the things that we're looking to get done in the next few years. So this is about past, but for me, it's also about our future. So he's a great guy, just a wonderful guy, and we're glad that he's going to be here. So that's all I had. Jeff?
And I know you said this, and Dr. Brown said it, but it's so important for the outside of our buildings to look good with the landscaping, mowing, trash picked up, paint, whatever. And I really appreciate all the work you do to make sure these facilities look good. It's there's pride on the outside, there's pride on the inside, and it means a lot to drive by one of our buildings.
Change over last year.
Thanks. I really appreciate the comment. For me, it's just like when you talk about a home, it's curb appeal. You can judge it as soon as you drive right on by it. And we need to have that kind of mentality in the schools. It really needs to look good from the moment you see it. I mentioned that we're working on all the electronic signs that we've got in our district. They get hit by lightning all the time. They get surges all the time. And there are a number of them that just haven't worked for a while. We need to change that. All those signs right now, getting them all up and running. So. I did hear the shameless plug earlier for insurance, and I heard to invest in America's Car Mart. I heard all of that earlier, so Kathy, I've been paying attention the whole meeting, so. No questions for me? Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. Great job. Okay, Kelly.
Board, I have several items for you this evening, the first of which is the financial update on the various building projects underway. I am down to 2 projects that are listed there for you, Lakeside Junior High and the HAR-BER Indoor Tennis Facility. I expect to get the final payout from Baldwin and Shell, what is owed on that project for Lakeside Junior High this month. So hopefully that project will be closed out at the end of this month. We're waiting for a little better weather to conclude the work done on the HAR-BER tennis facility, and so that's the holdup on that project. Any questions on either of those? Okay. The next item that I have for you is we have a student that wishes to attend Springdale schools. They reside in the Fayetteville school system, and the Fayetteville School Board has released that student, so I would ask that the board, we recommend that this transfer request be granted. This child be allowed to come to our district.
We will need formal action on that part of the agenda, so I'll accept a motion on that.
I move that we go ahead and do the transfer request and that it be granted as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. McFettridge, a second from Mr. Owenby. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? There's none, so motion carries.
Board, the next item that I have for you has to do with our property insurance. This year, the proposal that I bring to you is just basically an extension of our existing policy. There was a slight increase in the premium, a little under 3%, but it's the same policy that we've had in place this past year. Be happy to answer any questions you may have on that.
I think Kelly's given us a pretty good description in his memo regarding the property insurance, so.
Does it require action?
It does require action, so we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to renew the policy.
Okay. All right, we have a motion from Mr. Hutchinson. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Cook. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? There is none, so the motion carries. Okay, I will step out of the meeting for a moment and turn over presiding over the meeting to Jeff Williams.
Board, the next item on the agenda that I have to present is insurance for our directors and officers' liability insurance. Once again, this is basically an extension of our existing policy. It is at the same rate that we have been paying for this past year. Because the company that is providing this insurance has an affiliation with a board member, a resolution will need to be passed by the board approving this contract. And then we will have to submit it to the state and get state approval as well.
We need 2 separate resolutions, or 2 separate, one
I think
to
just-
accept it and to do the resolution?
I think that would be fine.
Okay. Motion?
I move that we accept the bid from Walker Brothers Insurance to extend the B&O policy. B&O policy.
Thank you.
And
B&O.
do the resolution. We want to bundle the resolution with that too.
And the resolution.
Okay. Danny, a second from Michelle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Hey, Danny, go get Mike.
Mr. Hayes, don't we normally have a name along when we approve a student transfer?
No, I typically have not provided a name for the student, of the student.
Yep. Leave him hanging.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay.
We're just going to go without D&O this year.
What's that?
We're just going to go without D&O this year.
Okay.
The final item that I have for you tonight, Board, is the regular monthly financials for the month of January. As you can see, and I think this will be the trend for a while, we're still trailing last year over on our revenue. Our expenditures are about the same as last year, percentage-wise. I continue to monitor the revenue. Hopefully, collections will pick up as we hit later in the spring. Right now, we will not see a lot of collections during these next few months. It will be on toward the end of the semester before our collections start coming in more heavily.
Any questions of Kelly regarding the financial report?
I make a motion to accept the financial report as submitted.
We have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. McFettridge. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? There is none, so the motion carries. All right. I don't guess our SEA representative isn't here tonight, is she?
She is not.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for hanging around.
Okay, Dr. Rollins, I know this is you.